drop the beat.
I'm a never Trump guy. I'm a never Trump guy. I'm a never Trump guy. I never liked him. I'm a never Trump guy. I'm a never Trump guy. I'm a never Trump guy. I never. I'm a never Trump guy. I never. I'm a never Trump guy. I never. I'm a never Trump guy. I never.
Good morning, ladies and germs. How are ya? I am actually chilling a little bit. We got until 10 a.m. where we're meeting up with Pisco. I'll actually probably DM him momentarily and see if he's available a little bit earlier. But basically, we just got some memes. Yeah, sounds good. Let's do it. Of course, tonight we have the Super Bowl. Then put the music back on. Hergerberg says, "Yeah, sure. I'll." Actually, I was joking about that the other day. I want to do a 30-minute intro where I could kick it off at 9, right? Like, and then I'm live at 9:30. But during the 30-minute intro, I would pick all like the meme music and make like silly video games, and I could make some. You know how Devil May Cry has this thing? I'll show you. It's the Devil May Cry United States Invades Hell. It's actually pretty sick. But the whole point is that like America is the bad guys, and the demons are like innocent uwu cutesy civilians. America invades hell. Devil May Cry. It's from like the new like Netflix anime or something. And I would take stuff like this. I would take stuff like I'm trying to think of another thing, like the Marines, the Corpo Marines invading like Navi.
Scramble the jets on my position. Operation Inferno has started.
In this case, America's supposed to be the bad guys. We're supposed to be the bad guys. But we're attacking hell with Hellstrike missiles. Problem? It's hell, isn't it? Aren't they a bunch of monsters who exist to feed off of our fucking emotions? Isn't that who they are? Like, look at this creature. He's got a spear and he's got horns. You think those are for self-defense?
My fellow Americans, what I am about to tell you is going to sound shocking, even unbelievable. But as
dang, they messed up this Diet Coke.
It is my duty not to conceal these hard truths, but to lay them before you.
Right? Right? So, you know, basically that plus music video. Oh, Fashion 40 says, yo, yo, yo. Christian Blair says, good morning. Good morning to you. Fashion 40 says, good morning, Christian. Hope you're well. Kay says, good morning. Hergerberg says, put the music back on. We will, but not today. What's the discussion y'all are going to have? Asks Kay. Truth be told, I don't know. We might rehash the... it's Pisco. So we just start talking about something and we're going to fight. You know what I'm saying? Like we got little brother, big brother syndrome. But, we'll try to find a current event in contention. And then worst case scenario, we can rehash the socialism drama with Econo Boy. And then there was one other thing that, he did the Alex Stein, Gavin McInnes interview, and I could just glaze him for that for a few minutes, because while obviously Pisco and I fight about a substantive amount of things, I think he just absolutely, for the first 40 minutes of that panel that I watched, he fucking mogged, absolutely annihilated his opponents. I was not expecting a Devil May Cry reference. Well, truth be told, I'm using it ironically in order to say America good for invading hell and blowing it up. Capcom deserves all the flowers for this. Yeah, if by flowers you mean like you try to be cringe and progressive, but it ended up being based. Whoops. Beef Supreme says it's a beautiful sunny day today. Everyone go out and touch some grass at some point. I feel some of y'all live on the internet. I mean, that's probably true. Andy B says Yankee Doodle Dandy has entered the chat. We ignore your mocking and stand with the bangers. Yeah, dude. Actually, there's like a rock and roll redo of Yankee Doodle Dandy, and what is it, like the whatever song that involves like invading Dixie and Rebel Tears? There's a rock and roll version of that too. Fashion 40 says, why is Pisco everybody's little brother? Well, I'm pretty sure it's because he's actually the littlest brother in his family, and so he just has that vibe. Gen X says, lol, so you and Pisco today, then Destiny and Econoboy later? Yeah, it should be fun. We should be bringing the content today. Conservatism says the Pisco thing was funny. He was spurging about how the prescriptions he's been giving and how inconsistent they are. Oh, yeah, I'll probably talk to him about that for sure. Now, he can say, like, okay, but I hear you. I hear you. Let me go ahead and write that down. Pisco doesn't know what the prescriptions are. And then I'm going to put clown mirror because this is one of the accusations from Steven against Pisco, is that when he's in debate mode, he cannot restate the opponent's arguments, which Steven calls the clown mirror. It's where you hold up the mirror in order to say, like, well, what does my opposition believe? But the mirror is always something warped. And so I'll ask Pisco if he's able to restate the prescriptions that I told him. And then probably Econoboy, drama, and what was the other one that we were talking about? The panel. The panel where he absolutely mogged Gavin McInnes and made him defend pedophilia. That was crazy. Ask Pisco if he would rather tolerate a Christian theocracy and an authoritarian socialist state. No, because he's probably going to say they're equivalent to him. I would see a Christian theocracy as less nefarious than authoritarian socialist state, but I think that boils down to preference. Like if you were gay in a Christian authoritarian state, you might view a socialist authoritarian state as less nefarious. And I'm pretty sure, no offense to Pisco, but I'm pretty sure that he sympathizes with the gays. American. Okay, everything is coming together now. We expand the amount of space of the Watergate. Bada make more room. Just confirm you got your ticket yet. So I get a payment tomorrow. Buying my plane tickets from that. So I should be good. There's this guy who talked to me. Pisco. I know we said 10, but I am ready whenever you are. Sorry. Just getting stuff done. My friend who's coordinating the trip to go meet. So just to share, I'm not trying to get murdered. Not trying to get murdered. Pisco's on at 10 a.m. So 15 minutes supposedly. That's the time that we agreed to. Now with the trip. So don't murder me, but in a week I'll be up in DC. And I'll be going to two things. I'll be going to an event with Francis Fukuyama, where he's reading his most recent slam poetry. And then it's a meet and greet after that. And then I think it's basically 2 days of meet and greets. The guests of honor are Francis Fukuyama and Bill Kristol. For those of you who don't know, Francis Fukuyama is the guy who authored the essay, The End of History. He's basically like a neoliberal think tank god. People kind of worship the ground he works on for being a interesting, thoughtful dude. And then Bill Crystal is, I think he's the son of another guy named Crystal who ran one of the most successful neoconservative magazines between the 60s and the 80s. For those of you who don't know what neoconservatism is, it's effectively, there were a bunch of like Jewish communists, and I'm not saying that to be derogatory, I'm trying to say that descriptively. There's a bunch of Jewish communists who were originally like Trotskyites. They were some kind of like socialists, but they watched the Soviet Union and the socialist empire unfold, and they were so repulsed by socialism and communism that they effectively disavowed the ideology. And then they saw the left wing of the United States becoming infected with more and more leftists and socialist apologists. And they said, fuck this, we're out. You know, like the clear vehicle for human prosperity is mixed economy capitalism and liberal democracy and republicanism. And so they became militant anti-Soviets, militant anti-Maoists, and they joined the Republican Party. And this was viewed as absolutely necessary to build the coalition for Reagan to win between fiscal conservatives, neoconservatives, and social conservatives, which I drew a diagram yesterday, which was, which was showing like Republican fusionism, like Reaganite Republican fusionism. But then what ended up happening is that coalition has fallen apart in the past decade with the rise of Trump. So neoconservatives, which I was probably raised as a Republican fusionist, but you know, when's the last time that the Republican ran not a deficit? What's the opposite? It's been so long, I forgot the word for surplus. When's the last time a Republican ran a budgetary surplus? The answer is never. The last person to run a budgetary surplus was Clinton. So fiscal conservatism, in my opinion, is it's rhetoric. It's not policy. Then social conservatism, we now have an accused pedophile as the heart of the as the head of the party. So social conservatism is, again, it's rhetoric. It's not policy or practice. And then when it comes to militarism, the Republican Party is isolationist. So why? You know, they've effectively betrayed everything that I ever believed in, which is sad because I get called the traitor, but I still have the same principles that I did 10 years ago. I have the same principles that I had 5 years ago, you know, and I'm called the traitor because the head of my party betrayed everything I ever fucking believed in. And for 20 years, my values have been betrayed by some of the most vampiric fucks on the planet. I don't know what to do about it. I'm just here. Anonymous Chatter, $20 says, start the ball rolling early today. Like the stream, love the VODs. True, Anonymous Chatter incentivizes me to shill. Like the stream, share it with your friends, engage in chat. Lots of funny, interesting people there. Watch the VODs, love the VODs, like the VODs, comment on the VODs. Super chats if you got them, memberships if you got them. Thank you for kicking us off, Anonymous Chatter. Beef Supreme says, I am bi. I sympathize with the gays. Lol, damn, I feel so attacked right now. Yeah, it's easier to hide as a bisexual man in either. But if you were just like straight gay, you'd probably be fucked in a Christian theocracy, but you might get ignored in a socialist hellscape. Gen X says, Connor, I think you have COVID. Yeah, me too. I have a huge headache. I took some aspirin. I started coming down with like a massive headache last night. And yeah, so I took some aspirin. Oh, but you were saying that because I couldn't taste my Diet Coke? No. This one's actually off. Conservative Liberalism says, do you have to snap your fingers when approving of slam poetry? Yep, that was wrong. Captain Nemo says he was wrong, though, about the end of history. Yeah, I agree. I would say reality is somewhere between Clash of Civilizations and end of history, but I hope he's right. Beef Supreme says, it sounds like you say essay whenever you say essay. Yeah, I wrote my essay. I wrote my essay in Colorado, and I said, hello. And he wrote me back, and he said, hey, essay. Fashion 40 says, well, Pisco better get his big boy pants on, and thank God I was blessed not to deal with their bullshit if they're all like that now, Gen X. Interesting. But they're fiscal conservatives, huh? No, LB. That's the point that I'm making. The point that I'm making is that they appeal to fiscal conservatism, but they've never practiced it. That's the thing that I just said. You get that? You understand? Wowman 542 says, please God, let Connor meet Marjorie Taylor Greene so they can fight about Jewish space lasers. Yeah, but then what if she shows me that the Jewish space lasers exist? And I'm like, oh, that's based. Matthew Mendoza says, fiscal conservatism hasn't existed my whole life. Yeah. Yeah. Yep. LB, you say that's how Republicans roll, huh? Deceitful. LB, isn't like 60% of your personality the fact that the Democrats are a bunch of pussies who never instantiate the policies that are actually required in order to make America good? So seems like you and I are same. Different, but same. Andy B says, fiscal conservatism is wildly unpopular. The average voter loves government programs. Republicans win off of social conservatism. Yeah, I mean, I relatively agree. Corey Peltzman says, I confronted Commie Boy yesterday about his hand-waving of CCP Mike's anti-Semitism, and he said that Tallybots probably said something just as bad to justify without any evidence, purely assuming she did. Yeah, didn't Mike from PA just come back from a ban saying that the Jews were demonic? Didn't Tectone catch 2 weeks for calling Frogan fat? And didn't Mike from PA catch a 1 week ban for saying Jews are demonic? That's awesome. Way to go, Twitch. Like with Twitch though, it's like, what do you even do? You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know if I'm throttled over there, but I've been streaming, 5 hours a day, 5 days a week since April. Although I guess I really only stream 1 time a week. Never mind, because I only do it on Tuesdays. But the point is that I've been streaming on Twitch for a while. I'll get 10, 20 viewers. I'll get a few memberships or whatever, but it's nothing to write home about. So there's no real need for me to invest in Twitch. And then I see Twitch do this crazy shit where they just like absolutely annihilate people based off of whether or not they're friends with the Twitch aristocracy and not the actual terms of service. And I just kind of wonder to myself, it's like, why would I bother investing in this platform? Like, Twitch can be quite lucrative. Like back in the day, a lot of Twitch streamers preferred Twitch over YouTube because while YouTube had better discoverability so you could get more viewership, Twitch subs and Twitch chats and donos and bits and all that kind of stuff was actually incentivized to be quite lucrative. But what happens is you build like a really lucrative hug box. But it seems like if that lucrative hug box, if you ever get banned, you're totally screwed over. And then also if Twitch just picks popularity based off of like proximity to their chosen creators, that's not a great way to run a platform. Gen X says, no, I said it because I just had COVID and you sound like you have it. I got it in Florida. I hope not. So far, all I have is a headache. So it actually shouldn't be too bad. I don't think that I'll like get hurt. Death Lily says, influenza B is going around, went to urgent care and said behind the counter Sudafed and immunity boosters. Based. Tagroom says, what's up, fam? Well, we're going to hang out with Pisco. We're going to chat shit about all the recent goings-ons. And then I don't know. We'll do something after that. We'll probably watch the Lonerbox Noah Samson drama. Lonerbox Hasan Piker Noah Samson drama. And then break that down. At 1 p.m., I hate to say this, but at 1 p.m. I do have a doctor's appointment, so it's going to be a little bit of an early stream. But we're still going to have a shitload of fun between now and then. Corey Peltzman says he banned me after that. Commie Boy. Well, no offense, Corey, but you're kind of you get a little antagonistic. You get a little abrasive in chat sometimes. Yeah. Hergerberg says, can we just not with LB today? No, it's a daily ritual. Part of the stream is fighting LB. Conservatism says, so your favorite president is Bill Clinton for his fiscal conservatism and you're admit to being a liberal. I feel like we're closely aligned and I'm politically homeless. Will I go red or you go blue? Conservatism, let's do neither. Okay. You and me, friend. You and me. So there's freak. Let me pull up my drawing. As a matter of fact, we should make more drawings. Excuse me. But effectively, did you not see my U-shaped drawing? Where is it? Where are these saved? Is it in pictures? Where is it? Political spectrum map, but I want the new political map. You should be part of this. I'll redraw this so it looks better. But look at this. We got the far left. I don't want to be a part of that shit. They're totally antithetical to everything that I want. We got the dissident right. They're not totally antithetical to what I want, but they're fucking evil. And they're like neo-Nazis mixed in with weird techno-feudalist, transhuman, libertarian weirdos. Like I don't want either of this shit, truth be told. Then MAGA, bunch of freaks, totally skinned my party alive and abandoned all the principles that made republicanism even worth considering. Then you got the contrarian right, which, truth be told, that's temperamentally where I'm at. I used to be the guy who would be like, actually, here's the reason why the mainstream narrative is wrong. Like that was definitely me for a long time in my life. But then you have, in my opinion, libertarians, neoconservatives, and moderates who are close to, in my opinion, they're as close to center right. Of course, libertarians can be extreme, but I feel like they're infinitely less dangerous than the dissident right. So I'm going to put libertarians here. Then you got the liberals, the progressives, and the far left. So if you're kind of a liberal, your name is conserve liberalism, and you're kind of a right-wing liberal, if you're right here with where my mouse is jumping back and forth, and if I'm right here, then what we need to do is we need to convince sensible progressives and sensible contrarian right to fight the far left and fight the dissident right and the bad parts of MAGA. That's what we need to do. So I don't give a shit. Like if you say, oh, Connor, you're actually to the left of this binary, or hey, Connor, you're actually to the right of this binary. I don't really give too much of a shit. I get a little bit offended when people say I'm to the left because I think liberals are pussies, but it is what it is, right? And so, yeah. So I mean that's what's going on. So let's not fight about where we fall on the binary. Let's just build this coalition of grill hottists, and let's fight the freak left and the freak right. Maybe if Democrats chill on guns, I'd help. Yeah, there you go. And that's what I'm fighting for with Democrats too. Like I'm trying to say, like, dude, you guys don't understand how many more moderates would be Democrats if you shut the fuck up about guns. It would actually be quite a few moderates would probably be like, all right, I can plug my nose. Fast and Bulba says, do you know how lonely it is to be pro-Iraq war lefty in the year of our Lord 2025? Based. LB says, yes, the DNC sucks too, but Dem socks are great. My soul is intact. Well, good for you. Tagroom says, a demonic entity were his words, right? Fun stuff. Yep. Andy B says, the first party that is pro-welfare and pro-deportation is going to win a 70% popular vote. Yeah, that's interesting. Now, what, like Bernie Sanders? You say that, but Bernie Sanders can't make it out of the Democratic primaries, so I don't know if that's true. Conservative liberalism says there's something to be said about Gingrich and Clinton's budget surplus, though. Yeah. Like somebody was arguing, like, oh, well, it was a bipartisan coalition that brought it together. Okay, problem. Brandon Zero says, to be fair, he wasn't banned for the Jewish comment, but supposedly for the buck breaking thing. To what happened to the slaves, Connor? What? Where they were like raped to break their spirit? That's sad. That's gross. Gen X says Democrats rarely talk about guns except when there's a mass shooting, and we all acknowledge there are no mental health screenings for gun ownership. I don't want to peel that apart because it's going to take too long, but for buying a gun, the feds keep track of people who were involuntarily committed when you apply for a 4473. And if you have an involuntary commitment, or if you're a felon or a fugitive from justice or a domestic abuser, or there's literally like 20 different criteria, you will be banned from buying a gun from a gun store. However, the problem is we still have private sales. Now, I think like every mass shooter, truth be told, I think easily 70 to 80% of mass shooters, the problem with them is that they typically have no priors, so they won't trigger a gun store purchase. But oftentimes they're just stealing guns from family members. Like I remember the guy who killed all those kids in Connecticut. I think he was like a schizophrenic autist, and his mom taught him to use guns anyways. Then he murdered his mom, and then he decided that the best way to spend his time on planet Earth was to murder a bunch of children. So I don't know what to do about that. Conservatism says the reality is mental health screenings wouldn't do that much. Mental conditions develop over time. Well, yeah, and not just that, but like we're all crazy to some degree. Where do you draw the line? Is Steven prohibited from having a gun because he has ADD or ADHD? am I prohibited from having a firearm because I have service-related anxiety or stress? Are a substantive amount of veterans prohibited from having firearms because they have psych issues related to service? Because then at that point, what you're doing is you're just incentivizing people to not get mental health. Because I'm telling you, if veterans have to choose between owning firearms and having access to firearms or going and getting psychiatric help, they're going to choose owning firearms. Just being real. Death Lily says, thanks to Dan, ad revenue is probably 30 to 50% down. Yeah, on Twitch, for sure. There's for sure. I used to get like a $60 to $100 check from Twitch like every other month, and now I just don't think I've gotten a check in probably 2 or 3 months. Now, truth be told, one stream a week is not enough to really generate a lot of cash, but still, like if it's 50% down, I think that would technically, I think Twitch has a $50 threshold for payouts. So that would actually make sense for why the checks didn't work, because if they took a 30 to 50% hit, then they wouldn't pay out. Andy says, I just don't think there's any real reason to de-gun America. It's not possible. Buybacks won't work. Yeah, I'm going to sell you my uncle or grandpa's 22 caliber Ruger 1022. You're not getting my AR-15. You're not getting my Glock, you know? No, it's a drawing of a horse. True. Granite Heart says, do you think abundance helps scratch a conservative itch for you? Some Eisenhower shit? Oh, for sure. Granite Heart. I'm all about infrastructure projects. I'm all about investing in the next American generation. I'm all about entrepreneurialism. When anybody says, hey, let's take a few $1 billion and let's make America amazing again, then I'm like, yeah, let's do that. I don't care if it's public money. I don't care if it's private money. I just care that we build cool shit. Brandon Zero says, Pisco's late. Pisco the lawyer is late. Wow, that's unprofessional. That's unprofessional. I'm gonna hit him up on the Twitter DMs. Pisco. It's Thursday at 10 a.m. Are you late for something? If he totally botched this, then we have to go right into content. So I need to, because dude, I got a job to do. I can't just bullshit with chat all day. Like I love bullshitting with chat, but that's not a segment. I need my ad revenue. I'm being a smart ass. I'm saying, are you late for something? $10:04. Fucking this is why Pisco wanted to be a creator. It's so he could fucking sleep in. So I'm gonna give him. We're gonna give Pisco. We're gonna give him the teacher. You know how if your teacher doesn't show up within 15 minutes of a college, they don't consider that an absenteeism for the students. We're gonna do that for Pisco. If he's not here by 10:15, then he's absent, and I'm not accountable for the next 2 hours of my life, and I'm gonna do whatever the fuck I want. TikTok, Pisco. Brandon Zero says, Connor's art teacher must be rolling in her grave every time he brings out that demonic illustration. Yeah, we'll make a better one. What are congressional Republicans right now? They're all MAGA or contrarian right, and a few of them are dissident right-wing simps. Sultan Al Fahim says, I don't fit in the graph, Connor. Well, what are you? Are you a Islamic theocrat? What are you? Sam says, as a centrist, who in God's name do we vote for? Whoever is going to do the least amount of harm. Conservative liberalism says Girl Hottest probably won't work well with appealing to normies. Let's just call it the Uniparty and call it a day. That'll bring back the Bull Moose Party because that shit sells itself. Yeah, but conservative liberalism, number one, Bull Moose. Not a lot of people know what Bull Moose is. That's like Teddy Roosevelt's party, right? But if you go check out the Bull Moose Twitter account, they're all like MAGA libertarian, deport all the brown people simps. They're like eco-fascists, which is funny. Timothy Douglas says, yeah, because Dems really have fucked with everybody's guns for sure. Timothy Douglas, I hate your sarcasm. I hate it with every ounce of my being. It viscerally makes me angry. You understand that Kamala, the fucking dumbass who had 4 months to run a campaign before she lost her election, she was tweeting about assault weapons bans 30 days before the election. You understand that, right? Just because you're incompetent doesn't mean you should have bad policy positions. You understand that, right? You understand that? Having bad policy positions isn't a good thing to do, and your incompetence doesn't excuse anything. You get that? Sorry for getting so angry, but that's like the most annoying shit on the planet is like, well, if we could implement our agenda, we would fuck you over, but we're too incompetent to implement our agenda. It's like, yeah, great selling point. I definitely want to vote for you now. What the fuck, dude? What? I don't know why you would ever say that out loud. Harley Smith says, good morning, say it back, or 100 days, bad chatter's true. Hi, Harley Smith. Good morning. Good morning. JL for $5. Thank you for the other donation. Whatever gifted me a membership Tuesday, thank you. It's probably Grassroots Hegemon, not going to lie. I'm officially trying to Hunter Biden derail your crash outs regarding Big Willie Biden are entertaining. Yeah, well, we could do that later. Moderates want gun control too, Connor. It's the conservatives who don't want to do anything. Yeah, sure. So how about Democrats stop proposing dog shit policy? How about that? How about you actually propose, like, what's the ones that are actually like polling at 80% or 90%? How about what is it? It's like universal background checks. I think that's the only one that polls at 90%. I think, like, weirdly enough, assault weapons ban poll at like 55 or 60%. But, you know, fuck you. How about that? How about when you pass the assault weapons ban, I'm not turning my shit in. How about that? They'll be like, hey, don't you have an assault weapon? And I'll be like, nope, sure don't. Gave it to a friend a few years ago. I forget his name. Sultan Al Fahim says, so basically it would not, smart guns fix this, Connor, fingerprint activated. Yeah, trust your life to a fingerprint scanner. I go to Disney because we have passes, right? And that fingerprint scanner takes like 30 seconds every time because you have to get your fingerprint pad exactly correct in order to get it doing. So while somebody's breaking into your house, you want to be fucking with a fingerprint scanner? No, thanks. Bakar Baridi says, you have a debate with Pisco? Well, he said that he was going to show up at 10, but it's 10:08. So he's got 7 minutes until I change my title and move on to the next piece of content. Oh, only members of the party should have firearms, comrade. Yeah, exactly. Dude, and I'm not going to watch it because it's super dry content, but Econo Boy was talking to Ryan Mulally last night, and the more that he talked about how, like, he's like, yeah, I just don't think it's a big deal. You know, the government's already all up in our shit. They already tax everything. You already have to get like a business license. You already have to pay taxes on everything. You already have to do this. You already have to get environmental permitting. You already have to do this stupid business practice. You already have to do this thing. So realistically, like, what's the problem with the government owning majority stakes in 80% of the economy? Or 90% or 100% of the economy? And I was like, this is making me a fucking ANCAP. Straight up. When I hear Econo Boy talk about how it's not that big of a deal if the government owns vast swaths of the American economy, it actually makes me want to go like ANCAP. Like, fuck this. You haven't learned your lesson. You're a fucking, you're a mouse who I gave a cookie to, and now you want your glass of milk. Fuck that. Fuck that. Son Patty says, Connor, play the BF6 beta instead. It's great. Nah. Son Patty says, let him piss. True. Mud Farmer says, damn it, I was trying to get here before we started Content Valor Media Network. Have you seen the new King of the Hill? No, but I'm hearing good things. And I've seen a few clips. I've watched it on YouTube. The few clips that I've seen are wholesome. Anonymous Chatter says, Connor, did you see China just dropped COVID 2.0? 7,000 cases for mosquito virus so far. Based. China with the 2.0. Bass and Bulba says, I'm a stickler for time. Not me. I'm a former Marine. You're supposed to be 15 minutes prior to every engagement. And I was 5 minutes prior to every engagement when I was in the Marine Corps. When I'm not in the Marine Corps, I'm 3 to 5 minutes late for everything. Just perfectly 3 to 5 minutes late. Valor Media Network says, if some form of psych eval is going to be added, just make a firearms license with an annual psychiatric eval like tags and don't make them ambiguous. I think better legislation would be harsh penalties for the gun owner, regardless if they committed the crime or not, unless you can prove it was stolen out of a secure location. Yeah, we should have civil liability for lost firearms. Absolutely. Timothy Douglas's Cotter definitely reminds me of a cool but firmly disciplinary high school teacher. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. I had some very cool but disciplined high school teachers. Conservative liberalism says, oh, Lord, I didn't realize Bull Moose had a Twitter presence. We'll have to workshop this. Yeah, they're super cringe. Bakar Baridi says, Kamala and Waltz are gun owners, dude. And you guys just fucking, you fall for all the Democratic talking points, don't you? You fall for all the Democratic talking points. Let fucking Tim Waltz's gun. Do you know what we call this? You know what we call this aesthetic in the gun community? It's FUD. Like Elmer Fudd. Because they're flyover state nincompoops with shotguns with a 3-round limit or a 5-round limit so they can go hunt pheasant in the grasslands of their fields. You think I give a shit? I don't want a 3-round shotgun so I could go shoot pheasants. I'm going to show you what I want. Let me show you what I want for a shotgun. This is what I... Do you see the difference, or do I need to explain it? Fucking fuds. Fuds. Fuck out of here. Andy B, and I love you, Bakar Baridi. Don't take my hostility as actual hostility, but you guys don't know what the fuck you're talking about. Andy B says, I think the neocons are still in the Republican Party. They're just power level hiding. I saw Lindsey Graham blow his load on live TV when we hit Iran. I think a snapback isn't impossible. Well, that's what I'm praying for. Tim Douglas says, all Dems say that shit. What did they do while in power, though? I don't give a fuck, Timothy Douglas. Hey, we're not only are we going to propose bad policy, but we'll be so incompetent that we can't do it. That's not a selling point for me. Fuck is wrong with you? Oh, look at me. I'm a dumbass. I have bad ideas and I can't do them. Why does that work for you? Why is that something to be praised? Fuck are you talking about, bro? What's wrong with you? Oh, look at me. I'm an idiot. Oh, what? Conservatism says Kamala ran on, her vice president ran on advocating for removing weapons of war. You can say they haven't done anything, but maybe they should have shut the fuck up if they wanted to appeal to moderates. Yeah, how about that? Any guess on how Econoboy versus Destiny will go? I think the first 30 minutes will be boring as shit because what'll happen is Econoboy is going to lay out specifically his economic vision, and then Steven will call him a commie apologist, cocksleeve for 2 hours, and they'll just spin in circles about the definitions of socialism. Mockery says only 55%, practically no one. Okay, good luck. Good luck, okay? 60%. It's a majority. You live in a democracy. So go ahead and pass the legislation, but I'm not complying with the legislation. I'm just telling you. Assault weapon has as many definitions of socialism, vertical grip, how many rounds in the magazine, civilians aren't buying ARs with select fire. Yeah, I know. Dashing Rogue for $2 says Disney on Not Berry Farm, which is better. Probably Not Berry Farm, but I hate Disney, so, you know. By the way, you wouldn't take double or triple what your weapons are worth? No, because you're not getting them back. Once you sell them, they're gone. Hergeberg says, Connor, raising the minimum age purchase to 21 at 80%, and so do red flag laws. Good. I would be okay with those. Although I think there is something weird with 18, where I think there should be an exception for law enforcement and the military, where if you're 18, you should be able to buy firearms. because you shouldn't be able to enlist in the country, use weapons, and go overseas and die for your country without being able to practice with firearms when you're home. So yeah, I would 100% do 21 with a security service exemption. So if you're like armed security license, if you're a law enforcement officer, or if you're military, then you should 100% be able to buy firearms at 18. All right. What time is it? Oh, now Pisco he just flaked. It's 10:16. All right, I guess we gotta change my title and move on. Damn. Pisco flaked. Flaking Pisco. Let him piss. Pisco flaking. Flaking Pisco. I'm actually gonna at him on the normal timeline and gonna be like, hey Pisco, weren't you supposed to be somewhere? At Pisco. Let me check my Discord before I fucking flame him. Nope, no messages. Weren't you supposed to be somewhere today? Say around 10 a.m. EST? Post. Flakin' Pisco. All right, let's set up the Lonerbox segment. And then also feed me ideas in chat, because the truth is, like, I don't want to watch Ryan Mullally versus Econoboy because it was so dry, and it was effectively like it was just a rehash of all of my complaints. I think Ryan did really well, by the way. He actually even made arguments that I hadn't considered. So, you know, I was with Ryan, and then Econoboy basically made me even more confident that I don't want to Destiny drops debate with Pisco after absolute decimation. Weird. That's a food shop segment. Let's pull up Lonerbox. I could do the Cenk Uyghur because we did a segment on it, but it was only like 30 minutes. We could absolutely do the Cenk Uyghur thing and the post-debate fallout, but we'll see. We'll see. Loner unboxed. Yep, here we go.
Supposedly,
I like how mean Lonerbox is because he's such a sweet guy. He's like legitimately one of the nicest people. At least vibes, of course. Like he could be like a total serial killer who like murders cats and shit, but he seems like such a sweet guy. And the one time that I met him in real life, he seemed like such a sweet guy. So I think Lonerbox is probably a sweet guy, but he is so catty on his streams. I think it's so funny. I love it when he's catty and shitty on his streams. It's fucking hilarious. All right. Anyways. Automatic counterpoints W for Pisco not showing up. So let me go ahead and screen. I'll still be engaging with chat. But let me set up the segment and we'll get into the segment. I'll still be responding to random memes in chat, but I need to do work. I need to get some segments done for that sweet ad revenue. Thank you to Dashing Rogue, JL, and Anonymous Chatter for kicking off the day with some donos. And I would say, like the stream, share it with your friends, have fun in chat. There's lots of cool, interesting, smart people to fight with in chat. Watch the VODs, love the VODs, comment on the VODs, super chats if you got them, memberships if you got them. Thank you for flying Counterpoints Airlines. I know you have a variety of streamers with which to choose, and I thank you for choosing Counterpoints Airlines. Stretches. All right. Hi, guys. My name's Connor. I'm a science fiction, political, and philosophy nerd, Marine Corps and law enforcement veteran, and a never Trump Republican. And today I'm going to be breaking down some drama between Lonerbox, who is a liberal, lefty, progressive guy that I like, and Noah Sampson, a very large leftist video essayist, and Hasan Piker, the largest left-wing live streamer on the internet. They're beefing, of course, about Israel-Palestine, but I think there's some personal drama mixed in there, and so I'm ecstatic to be breaking it down for you today. Let's go ahead and get our characters on screen and see what they have to say.
some choice words I heard. He said something along the lines of like, if
Along the
all
lines.
if
Let's
all
go.
Jews are pro-Israel,
Right.
then you're and they're all no. If all Jews are pro-genocide of Palestinians, you're anti-Semitic for being against the genocide of Palestinians. And I was like,
What?
Imagine, like, Lonerbox is a smart dude. Imagine thinking for 5 seconds that this sentence is true. This is either Hasan Piker is so dumb that he can't properly represent opposing arguments, or he's actually just lying. And I don't know which one is true.
How can every single thing they say about me be wrong? Makes sense. What do
It's
we
a
have
little
here?
low.
Is it actually time? Is it hog o'clock?
it's like, oh, you don't like
He's a little low, so for the sake of audio balance, this will be a Counterpoint's ASMR segment.
Is it hog o'clock? These guys are hogs, by the way, just so you understand. Like, these guys glaze the shit out of authoritarian regimes and despotic leaders, and they have a very like strong.
The poster says, "Boo! Why hate on flyover people? Because you have terrible taste in guns."
Man perspective on how the world should go anyway. Like Hasan with his fucking perfect phone call that would supposedly stop the conflict in Israel and Gaza. Yeah, whatever. They are hogs, massive hogs.
All right, I know we're starting the segment, but you guys are still on the gun topic, and you're writing things just to make me angry. I'm a gun owner too, and don't want to ban guns, but Scrotus is corrupt. In no way is an AR-15 an effing hunting rifle. That's BS and bribery. So I'm going to go ahead and bring up the Second Amendment, which is a well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state. The right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. So I'm just going to bring this up for you real quick. Can you show me, LB, where does it say anything about hunting? Okay. Contextually, historically, a well-regulated militia, a well-regulated doesn't mean regulated by the state. It means well-trained. You can look up contemporary historical sources for why this means well-trained. And the militia, defined by federal code, is all, I think it's all men aged 18 to 45. This is like the unregulated militia or the unofficial militia or the something militia. I forget what it is. But the militia is defined as all men aged 18 to 45 and all women who are in the National Guard. So a well-trained militia, men 18 to 45 and women in the National Guard, being necessary to the security of a free state. That's the purpose of this clause. So it's not making anything prescriptive or descriptive. The right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. So the people, not the militia, the people have a right to keep and bear arms. And they shall always have this right. It shall not be infringed. Now, I think there's a legalistic argument that it's not an unlimited right. And so as long as you can bear arms and as long as you can keep arms, you can technically regulate the style of weapons that people keep, even with the Second Amendment as read. However, where does the word hunting pop up anywhere? I don't see the word hunting anyways. Or sorry, I'm waking up and getting caffeinated, but where is the word hunting? Or where's the implication of hunting? I don't see it.
Frat fuck hogs.
saying that bar for bar that I have told Ethan Klein 10 toes down within the framework of Israel doing a genocide and a regional actor trying to take action against Israel doing a genocide.
What actions are they doing? Missiling random commercial ships is what the Houthis are doing. So Hasan Piker, when they're like, Hasan doesn't support terrorism, this is just him openly saying that he supports terrorism. Got it. Okay, cool.
The Houthis are right. They are correct. They're
They're the
correct to
only
do a
ones
naval
following-
blockade.
They're the only ones following international law.
They're the only ones following international law has to be one of the dumbest sentences ever uttered in geopolitical analysis.
So good. What a fucking dunce. Mate. They're the only ones following international law, apart from being a non-state actor with arms in and of itself, going into international waters, attacking civilian vessels, the plurality of which do not come from Israel. They're Greek. Greek-owned. Plurality of the ships that the Houthis are attacking. Kidnapping, killing, fucking oil spills. They're the only ones following international law. God damn it. Fuck me. Listen, if you're like a right-leaning Israeli, okay, you're like a Netanyahu fan in chat, you know, all two of you. These are your guys. These are your bros. You should be so fucking thankful that this is what's dominated Western left-wing alt media on Israel-Palestine. Like,
True.
don't forget all the internal stuff that they do. Yeah, sex trafficking women who were jailed for very arbitrary, like modesty laws. Yeah, it's so fucking.
West Coast Girl says, at least Tim Waltz hunts for food. How many intruders have I killed so far with that AK? 0. But there's always tomorrow.
Bad, because these guys are like the big voices on this, like the big left tube, bread tube, tanky twat tube.
LB says, Connor, should citizens use 2A to defend against Gestapo ICE? No. Like, I mean, I think about that sometimes in reference to Alligator Alcatraz because they're glorifying the torture of non-immigrants. But truth be told, LB, you can find this morally repulsive if you want. You can enforce immigration law. Okay? If you are not supposed to be in this country and you've overstayed your visa or you've crossed the border illegally, then the United States government has the right to detain you, investigate your immigration status, and then deport you. They have the right to do so under currently established laws. Now, there's a Fourth Amendment clause to the... Well, let's go ahead and take a look real quick, just because this is important, even though it's not on topic. The Fourth Amendment is the right of the people to be secure in their persons, houses, papers, and effects against unreasonable searches and seizures shall not be violated. So we have to fight over what's reasonable, and no warrants shall issue, but upon probable cause, supported by oath or affirmation, and particularly describing the place to be searched and the persons or things to be seized. Well, we already have a bunch of laws about immigrants and whether or not they're allowed to stay. So no, ICE is enforcing the laws as written. So no, I'm not for shooting cops when they are enforcing existing laws. If you think that, you know, illegal immigrants have an indefinite right to stay in the United States, number one, you're wrong. But number two, you should probably change the law of the land before you start shooting cops. That would be my recommendation.
Whatever the fuck on this issue, and they're so fucking retarded. It's like Noah will sit there and read an entire human rights report from the UN on stream, and he doesn't understand anything. To think that what the Houthis do has anything to do with international law, that's fucking crazy. That's so crazy.
Timothy says, shoot, he passed on my unsolvable point, sad face. Type it in chat again. I'll get to it.
What is happening in this brain? You open this head up and it's just a big ball of dust.
I do care about anti-Semitism. He doesn't. He just wants to weaponize it against not even like critics of Israel necessarily, but it usually is critics of Israel, obviously. But but it's more so just people who fucking make him feel bad.
And the panel of great anti-Semitic fucking lunatics.
Apparently they were talking about me as well in this little.
So hold on a second. I need to break this down as if you're an alien and you have no idea what's going on. This is Ethan Klein. He is a Jewish gentleman who lived in Israel for several years and met his wife, Hila Klein, who served in the Israeli Defense Forces a decade ago. That automatically, according to these people in the bottom right, makes them genocidal, monstrous freaks deserving of social ostracization. Okay? This guy, Ethan Klein, and Hasan Piker, they used to run a lefty podcast called Leftovers. Ethan Klein is a social democrat because he's so rich, he just doesn't even care about tax money anymore. So realistically, if the government taxes him a bit more to pay for social programs, he thinks that's a nice thing to do. Hasan Piker, in my opinion, is a Marxist revolutionary LARPer who wants the government of the United States to be overthrown. He sims for anti-American, anti-imperialist. He would call them powers like current China and current Russia. He makes excuses for them. He sims for them. He minimizes their atrocities. He minimizes their human rights violation so he can have a contrarian worldview. This is Noah Samson. He's a leftist video essayist who can write decent, dry essay scripts, but he also pretty much shadows, in my opinion, every opinion of Hasan Piker, but he falls apart like wet tissue paper in a debate. So they are currently on stream together trying to bully Ethan Klein for not wanting the entire state of Israel to be evaporated and destroyed. And then in turn, they're going to throw elbows at Lonerbox because Lonerbox, despite being a lefty who probably sympathizes with the Palestinians and the especially the civilians who are getting screwed over, he's a relatively astute and intelligent geopolitical analyst. And so since he is not deriding these guys, they're going to throw elbows his way. And that's what we're here to break down. So we're just watching this for entertainment for the lulz.
In this little frat hangout.
Immediately unacceptable.
Oh, sorry. No, they're not talking about me.
Sorry, real quick. We were talking about guns earlier, which is why I keep getting distracted by gun stuff, but it's important, so I want to talk about it anyways. Also, Lonerbox has a very ASMR aura, so I'm a little bit more frenetic than Lonerbox. Death Lily says red flag laws don't stop criminals. It just removes guns from people who have already committed crimes or violates people's due process. I don't agree, Death Lily. What's funny is you're more right wing on guns than I am. So, as an example, I was one of the first 3 people as a cop to do a red flag law in the United States, and I'm going to tell you about the case. So, the case was there's a guy who, according to multiple witnesses, is addicted to methamphetamine and marijuana. And he is fleecing his mother. So he lives at home. He lives on a second property of his rich mom's estate. He constantly asks her for money, and he's spending tens of thousands of dollars per year on drugs and then does nothing productive with his life. And so the family went to their mother and they said, you don't have that much money. Like, yeah, you're a multimillionaire, but this guy is bleeding you dry and he's spending it on drugs. The drug addict's response was to say, fuck all of y'all. I'm going to kill all of you. And then he started threatening to rape and murder his nephew and his nephew's girlfriend. He was texting them, harassing them, being like, I'm going to swing by while you're at work. I'm going to kidnap you. I'm going to rape you. I'm going to murder you. Now, there's I could look up the Florida statute, or you could just trust me on it. But there's a harassment statute via telephone call that I could have charged this guy with. But he's not in person, so he's not doing aggravated assault. You could argue stalking, which could be a felony, but he also hasn't done anything physically yet, so that's kind of weak. So we can charge him with stalking, but realistically, at that point, we have stalking and we have harassment via telephone, a misdemeanor and a felony. Well, at that point, if I put out warrants for his arrest, he still has methamphetamine, he still has marijuana, he still has guns, and he's currently threatening to do murder and kidnapping, right, on the telephone. And so what I do instead is I say, okay, well, this isn't good. Oh, and then it's also not domestic violence, right? Domestic violence, at least the way that the laws were written as I understood them at the time, domestic violence applies to people that you either cohabitate with, or people that you're in a romantic relationship with, or people that you're married to, or like immediate family members who cohabitate. And so it wasn't domestic violence either, which is a trigger in order to remove his firearms, right? And so as a result of that, I had to do an ERPO, emergency risk protection order, or a red flag, on top of the telephone harassment, on top of the stalking charge. That way, Lake County Sheriff's Office, because he was out of my jurisdiction, went to his house, detained him, arrested him for the misdemeanor, arrested him for the felony, but they also removed the firearms from the home. And what would have happened if I had just arrested him for the misdemeanor and the felony is he would have gotten out within 24 to 48 hours, still on bail because his mom would have bailed him out, and he still would have had access to his firearms, and he still would have had access to his drugs. So you tell me, man, because from my perspective, when I have somebody who is bipolar, on meth, on marijuana, and he's threatening to kill his family members because of a legalistic loophole, he should not keep access to his firearms. A judge should review whether or not he should get access to firearms. Now, that where it comes to due process, and I'll try to be quick. When it comes to due process, I don't think one judge should be enough to remove your rights. I think it should be a jury of peers. And I think it should be timely, like within 30 days. And I think that emergency risk protection orders are so rare that you could actually have an expedited process where you have a jury of peers review your right to keep and bear arms within 30 days. However, I still think it's a good tool in the toolbox. So you tell me, give me feedback.
They would never, neither of these two would ever challenge me upon their own wits, right? They always need another person to filter, to make the arguments for them so that they are, because they're too fucking stupid and lazy to do it themselves. That's what they're actually doing. Okay. They're getting their little fucking hemorrhoid faced mongrel to come over here and tell them what's what for them. Their little thought leader.
He's worse than John Aziz still, make no mistake. Loner's prediction for Israel's aid plan came true immediately. Unacceptable.
True? Yeah, it did. Wow. Yeah, it did. Almost actually to the, like, down to the fine details. And it happened on day 2, like the rushing
I need to
and
lift
the
some weights.
shooting. Yeah, even there's a clip in there as well. Rip. So true, but that's bad apparently. You know, that's how fucking hate boner these guys are now.
Unacceptable. Look at that.
It's funny because he's like crafted because he's crafted such a Zionist audience, those videos don't do well, I suspect, as opposed to like,
I bet the comments are a mess.
Yeah, they're like, what are you saying? Israel's not number one? What are you saying? Israel number
The comments on every
Why don't you read the comments, bro?
Every single video I do are a fucking mess. Yes, because I'm not partisan. Yeah, because I don't cater to the most dogmatic fucking cult-like ideology that you guys are adhering to. Yeah, that tends to get you dispute as well. Yeah, get it for everything. Everything. There are lefties who get mad when I talk about Israel. There are right-wingers who get mad when I talk about Israel. Yeah, that's typically what happens.
one. You hate Israel? Do you not love Israel?
Wait, so
such is the problem with centrism. You're always getting your dick kicked in from every angle.
what's the issue here then? So if I have Zionists in my audience who I'm making angry, what's the problem here? What, exactly? Like what?
You guys keep suggesting good content that would actually further the conversation of the American zeitgeist. However, you understand that the Twitch and YouTube politics is drama with a veneer of interesting and deep ideas. So while Tucker Carlson interviewing a Green Beret who saw a Gazan child be gunned down immediately after he gave him some food, that could further the conversation about the alleged atrocities against Israel, or that Israel is committing, excuse me. However, that Americans don't care about that, okay? They don't care about, I think his name was Gassim. God bless Gassim, you know, I hope he's either resting in peace or he's in Jannah. I hope he's in heaven. with the creator of the universe, right? So God bless that kid. However, what I would say is most people don't care about that. It's sad to say. People care more about Destiny's sex life. They care about Lonerbox and Hasan Piker talking shit about each other. They care about Cenk Uygur having a spurg out on a panel. That's what they care about. They don't care about random children getting gunned down. Because the truth is that that's depressing. It's sad. And it's unfixable. We can't fix it. It's already done. So, and then what do you want to do? So, sorry if I'm belaboring the point. But what do you want to do about it? Right? You want to do a fundraiser for Gazans? We could do that. But they're still going to suffer. They're still going to die. And then what do you want to do to the IDF? Do you want to like buy an airplane ticket and fly? Victoria, could you grab me a Diet Coke just because one of them was actually like bad? There was no sugar or fake sugar. Thank you. What do you want to do about it? Do you want to fly to Israel and fight the IDF? You guys might meme in my chat that you're going to do that, but you're never going to do that. Right? So it's kind of like suffering. It's suffering without a point. So that's why I wouldn't engage with that kind of content, even though it's probably the morally correct thing to do.
I wish I could do an accent, but I would just come off very badly.
Yeah, I mean, I come off really badly too, but it doesn't matter.
That's pretty good. I thought it was pretty good Israeli accent. Yeah, the replies to all these
I live
guys.
two doors down from this anti-Semite on his
Oh,
screen.
he knows the replies. Noah's looking at the replies to my videos. Okay. Noah, if you're watching this or if you've clicked on this video to look at the replies, I guess you could actually try and contend with any of the arguments, you fucking retard, but okay.
Bad Chinchilla, he works.
Ableist slur from Lonerbox. Lefty Lonerbox using an ableist slur. Based.
Teddy First tracksuits on the weekends.
Exposed.
He was mad at his
Tell us
own.
why the Houthis are abiding by international law. I want to hear that one. I want that Noah Samson video. Next. Go on. Give it to us.
Chat calling him anti-Semitic. I wonder why you have cultivated such a,
Thank you, baby.
a community
Wait, what?
that would consider
What? Who said?
green. Bad Chinchilla, he wears Teddy First tracksuits on the weekends.
Exposed.
He was mad at his own.
Timothy Douglas rolling out the bangers today. Well trained. Does that mean only people who receive training can own guns, though? I don't know. Let's take a look at the text of the Second Amendment. This has become a gun segment with Lonerbox running in the background, but truth be told, that's just because he's just calling the people who are criticizing him the R slur. So let's go ahead and see if the Second Amendment has a training requirement. A well-regulated militia, so a well-trained militia, being necessary to the security of the free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. Well, in order to be well-trained, it sounds like you need the right to keep and bear arms. At least that's what the Second Amendment seems to be saying, is that a well-trained militia being necessary to the security of a free state, the people need to keep and bear arms so they can become trained. So, I don't know, Timothy Douglas. Do you think that there is a training requirement to the Second Amendment? And by the way, I'm being a smartass and I'm being condescending. Number one, because my chat loves it when I do it. But number two, I want you to start thinking. I don't want you to come in here with your no offense, guys. Like, seriously, no offense. But you guys are half of you are fucking contrarian weirdos from various heterodox political philosophies who actually just like to see a Twitch and YouTube political person think as they speak. That's half of you. You don't agree with me one-to-one, but you just like seeing somebody struggle with complex ideas. That's half of you. The other half of you are DGG, which is fine. That like welcome aboard. Thank you for being here, et cetera, et cetera. However, because Steven typically has not only well thought out ideas, but also liberal talking points, you're used to just spamming liberal talking points in my chat and expecting them to go unchallenged. No. There's no training component to the Second Amendment. You could have known that if you Googled the term. While you're giving me something to react to, and I appreciate you for the content, think before you say something to me. Otherwise, I'm going to put you on blast. Thank you. I love you.
Chat calling him anti-Semitic.
Who the fuck in my chat called me anti-Semitic? Maybe like
Damn, Sacred Snow just called me out though. As a former Midwesterner, sorry we don't need 30-plus round magazine semi-auto rifles because our home isn't a hellhole riddled with wild hogs and gators. Well, mine is. So don't take my 30-round rifles. Appreciate you.
this might have been like one person. No one who in my chat has called me anti-Semitic. There are a lot of Jews in my audience. No one's called me anti-Semitic. Oh no, someone in chat told him. So yeah, you know. Well, I will believe that, won't we? You know, only a very highly only NPR for Zoomers. That's what NPR would do, isn't it? NPR would absolutely report on things in that manner. Okay, now you guys are calling me anti-Semitic. Okay, well done, trolls. Well done, thank you.
I wonder why you have cultivated such a community
I'll just assume that's
that would consider
true.
any criticism towards Israel to be anti-Semitic. I wonder how that happened.
Dude,
oh
that's
no,
you guys. That's you guys. Every time I criticize Israel, which is like almost every day, you guys are calling me anti-Semitic. This is my community. This is real.
Oh, this guy said, what did he call it? He called a one-state solution anti-Semitic?
Yes.
right.
I absolutely think a one-state solution is anti-Semitic. Yes.
Ooh, actually an idea to contend with. Let's go.
Not that I have, which is interesting because I would often say that my ideal ending to this whole conflict would be a one-state solution. Yeah, I think those borders like connecting Gaza and the West Bank, like that's kind of cringe. That's got a lot of problems. Logistical. I don't really like sectarianism. I don't like states that are forcing themselves to have like ethnic majorities. I don't really like that as a principle. Now, I think we live in a world where having Jews living as a minority in a Middle Eastern, like Arab Muslim country right now, given, you know, the recent and not so recent history, is a pretty bad idea. That doesn't mean you should go there one day.
Okay, trying to boil this into something that we can actually deal with. Hasan Piker has said multiple times that he thinks the solution... Let's bring up the map. It's geopolitics time. Because we gotta find some meat on these bones. So far, there's not very much here. Hasan Piker and Noah Samson collectively between them have 160 IQ points, divided up however you feel like it. Lonerbox is fucking brilliant, but he's obviously dry and Scottish, and so I'm looking for something to contend with here. Israel, Google Maps. So as far as I can tell, what's been said that's actually something worth considering is that Israel currently occupies this territory, and there's a cutout of it that I'm looking for on the maps for the West Bank right here. This kind of like dotted line is the West Bank, which is Palestinian majority. And then there's Gaza right here, where the humanitarian crisis is unfolding, /war, /genocide, depending on who you are. The West Bank, Israel is slowly settling, where they just let, you know, super Zionist hardcore Jews with Tavor rifles move in. And then if locals attack the settlers, then the IDF comes in and protects the settlers and kills the people attacking it. So it's kind of like a slow rolling, settling, potential ethnic cleansing of the West Bank. And right now, Israel and the United States of America is arguing whether or not they should ethnically cleanse the Gaza Strip. And so the whole point of this is that what Hasan Piker thinks is the solution is that Israel should dissolve. It should become one state known as Palestine. And that since the Palestinians have the demographic majority, they should have the demographic majority within a democratic state. Israel doesn't want that. And frankly, if it did happen, the Palestinians would probably engage in a few pogroms and a few like terrorist attacks against the Jewish population that has oppressed them for the past 100 years from their perspective. So not only is that highly politically unlikely, it would result in a bunch of dead Jews, which I don't know if you guys are familiar with this thing called World War II, but most people think dead Jews is a bad thing, right? But then we're also stuck with this fucked up situation where Israel's trying to commit an ethnic cleansing in Gaza, and they're doing a slow rolling ethnic cleansing of the West Bank. And we don't really know how to stop them. And it seems like there's a actual silent majority in the American Congress who seem permissive of this effort. That's the best that I can describe it.
Yeah, apparently I do think a one-state solution is answer. Is he referring to the Queeman debate? Oh, yeah, because he'll only be getting my opinions through watching Bad Empanada videos, and he only gets his opinions on me through clips that he's decided to grab. I think the take I had on that was that if you had a one-state solution now with Jews as a minority, you would get anti-Semitism. You get a rise in anti-Semitic violence, which is true. And my evidence for that prediction is, I don't know, maybe the last like 400 or 500 years.
Oh, Harley Smith says, well, a well-regulated state militia to oppose the federal government is clearly what is being proposed, but you'll never read it that way. You're right. I'll never read it that way. Find me any piece of paperwork that I'm supposed to translate the right of the people to keep and bear arms is supposed to be translated to the right of the people to keep and bear arms actually secretly means that the states can have a national guard. Go ahead and find me any historical contemporary documents that was the intent of the founding fathers. I'll be happy to read it.
Of Jews living as minorities in the Middle East and North Africa? Maybe that in like every area, every country, ever? Since maybe like 1490 or something. Yeah.
Sorry, we're still talking about guns because, frankly, this is a little dry. Chaotic, we're injecting the moistness of the gun debate into the dry Lonerbox segment. Chaotic Neutral says, actually a genuine question as a UK person, does a direct reading of the Second Amendment not imply you should be able to have crazy weapons like missiles, tanks, and even nukes? Is there a line? So there's people in my chat who would argue that, yeah, it technically authorizes everything. Because since the point of the well-trained militia is to contend with an opposing armed force, that they should have an unlimited right to have any weapons that the military has. I don't actually believe that. And I don't think Antonin Scalia, who's like a conservative justice, he doesn't believe that either. And so finding the balance between a right to serve its purpose, which is the United States, the people of the United States of America are able to fight a tyrannical government because that conception is infused within our founding DNA, within our founding character, is the right and ability to fight a tyrannical government. Finding the balance of what kind of weapons do civilians need in order to be able to do that is arguable. And so Antonin Scalia said that this is not an unlimited right, the same way that the First Amendment is not an unlimited right. So, yeah, I don't know. It's arguable.
Since maybe the 1500s, Jews have typically had a pretty shit.
Beef Supreme says, you read it very simplistically. Well, tell me how to read it complexly, because I know how to read it complexly as well. I read it more complexly than all the critics of the Second Amendment. So tell me the sophisticated way to read the Second Amendment.
Time being minorities in the Middle East and North Africa, not to mention other parts of the world, you know. But you know, maybe these guys can prove me wrong again. Maybe Palestine will be the first.
$5 from Shadow 2 Bravo. Why do these cockroaches use doing a genocide instead of committing a genocide? This has to be a conscious choice. No idea. Thank you for the donation, though, King. I appreciate you.
He had some choice words. I heard he said something along the lines of like, if all Jews are pro-Israel,
right,
then you're and they're all no. If all Jews are pro-genocide of Palestinians, you're anti-Semitic for being against the genocide of Palestinians. And I was like,
what a vicious straw man. Okay, I want to hear Lonerbox's response though.
What? How can every single thing they say about me be wrong? How can they? It's so the thing is, I know what they're referring to. They're referring to real things, but they've like mashed it and mangled it in their heads. How can you be this fucking dense that this is the kind of content that you have to strawman me on?
True.
To contend with me. How, man, would these guys do a 2v1? Would they let me debate both of them at once? Fucking hell.
They would need both in order to cumulatively add up to the IQ of Lonerbox.
That's him correcting himself as well. Yeah, so what I said was that if all Jews were pro-genocide, then it would probably be justified to be anti-Semitic. That's what I said. Yeah, if all Jews decided that they would just want to genocide all the Arabs, then yeah, that would just be, you're probably justified to hate all the Jews then. Because why are they saying that? Is he saying that it would be anti-Semitic like in a bad way? Like if you hated Jews for wanting to genocide all the Palestinians, then that would be like bad because it's anti-Semitic? No. But now they're just saying like you should still support genocide even if you're, it's so pathetic. And again, I don't even know why. This isn't like just them being silly. Like this isn't them not knowing my positions. This is like an intentional way of coping with your opponents.
Yeah, which by the way, this is the frustration with the Fortress arcs. When it comes to Hasan, when it comes to Vosh, when it comes to Nick Fuentes, when it comes to all these characters who have these extremely hyperbolic beliefs, but they've gotten so big that they're no longer financially reliant on fighting other characters. They've all gone into their little hug boxes so they can just react to stuff and never contend with anybody arguing with them ever again. I actually really appreciate that Steven doesn't stay in his hug box, and like he could just react Andy all day to 10,000 live viewers and he just, you know, coast off of that forever and retire as a millionaire and not have any strife in his life for the rest of his life. Honestly, he could just date e-girls for the rest of his life. He'd be fine. But the truth is that he still, there's some element of gladiatorial combat that he just enjoys from fighting other people. And it seems to be like part of his DNA. Even when it's not in his best interest, he still does it. And so I appreciate that about Steven, because the truth is that like Hasan Piker would get fucking annihilated if he left his hug box. I'm actually ecstatic that he is going to be debating Charlie Kirk, not only because I expect Hasan Piker to get annihilated, but I expect Charlie Kirk to get annihilated too. It's like two dumbasses fighting each other. It's mutually assured destruction. It's going to be great content. And so the reason why I hate this is because, in my opinion, Lonerbox should be a bigger creator than Hasan Piker because he's actually insightful, intelligent, charismatic, funny, interesting. Whereas I feel like Hasan Piker has like 90 IQ. I feel like he has decent recall of historical facts, but that's the only thing that he has going for him that is remotely close to a talent. He has good memory recall, and he's a physically attractive person. That should not be enough in order to make you the most popular creator in streaming. Or political streaming, I should say. Timothy Douglas was saying, I was just saying that the Second Amendment is an example of one of those unsolvable issues our Constitution presents. It's crucial to our country, culture, safety, but when abused can lead to mass death. Sure. But Timothy Douglas, I'm going to put to you this proposition, okay? You're saying it's unsolvable. I think there's plenty of things that we can do to reduce mass shootings. I think we can increase access to mental health services. I think we can do simple things like raise the gun age to 21 and then have security service exemptions. I know when you're 18 or 19, you're like, no, I want a gun. I want a gun. I want a gun. Well, the truth is, like, if you're a part of a gun family, you're going to have access to guns anyways. But never mind. Ignore my bad policy. But I'm pretty sure it's like, what is it? 20,000 homicides per year, 30,000 suicides from firearms. So you're talking about 50,000 people, right? And it sucks. These are all murders. I've seen murders. I've seen people get killed up close, et cetera, et cetera. But you're talking about 50,000 people, including suicide, by the way. So you could technically cut that off. Then 80% of homicides are probably drug related. So if you wanted to, you could cut that off. But I don't even need to, because it's such a statistically small problem. 50,000 divided into 300 million is 1.666666 whatever e to the negative 4. And correct me if I'm wrong, e to the negative 4 is where you do a 0.0. So I think that's 0.000 166666666. I think that's it. So point e to the negative 4, right? So 0.0001666. This is your percentage chance of being killed by a firearm, and half of that statistic comes from suicide. So if you don't shoot yourself in the face, your 0.0000833% chance likely to get killed. So is that a problem that we need to freak out about? Probably not. It's like a lightning strike. Do we need to do more to secure public spaces so mass shootings aren't so prevalent? Absolutely. But my solution would be concealed carry. It wouldn't be banning assault weapons.
Jesus. But the way that they have to do it in that kind of way is just so fucking sad. The fucking intellectual frailty of these two. Yeah, this guy, somehow I managed to get a following of left, liberal, and some right-wing people, and somehow I
sounds like you're a centrist, Lonerbox. Join the club.
I've actually managed to produce videos that you have shouted out, Hasan and Noah. I've never shouted out any of the fucking trash that you guys have produced, by the way, because I always thought you two were retarded. You guys have shouted out my work, but apparently now the guy that both of these guys have held in high esteem, and I haven't changed my opinion on absolutely everything. I still have a lot of the opinions that I keep up on my essay channel as well. These guys have both shouted me out, enjoyed my content, learned from me apparently, said I know my shit, have acknowledged that I'm like probably more well-read than both of them put together. But now suddenly I'm the guy who thinks that even if every Jew supported genocide, you still should just let them do it because otherwise you'd be anti-Semitic. Really? Really, boys? Really?
Yeah, okay.
Like I'm saying, this is more like fucking Hasbara, pro-Israel content than anything I could ever dream of putting out. No amount of trips to Israel will ever rival the amount of fucking favors these guys delivered to Netanyahu on a fucking plate. There's nothing better for Netanyahu to have this kind of discourse in the people who oppose you, because this is how you ensure that Democrats and everyone else, like, they have no fucking idea what to do with this information. Like, what? Okay, so listen, we're Democrats, okay, and it seems like the left are very pro-Palestine. So what are they saying? You know, what kind of policies can we offer to them? Well, okay, there's this really big. Okay, we got like make one phone call. Let's look at the let's look at the content and see if we can produce a demand list. Okay, so we got make one phone call that will end the conflict in Gaza. Okay. All right, that's probably not feasible. Okay, let's try that. Okay, maybe we can realign in the Middle East. Okay, who do these guys support? Maybe we can just extend olive branches. This guy thinks the Houthis are the only ones complying with international law. Okay. Probably shouldn't do that. That's kind of like subterranean IQ levels. Okay, what next?
I'm sorry if I find this a little bit funnier than you guys, but I do think it's funny that Lonerbox just so casually dismantled them. Like, look at this dude. Noah Samson is a successful creator. Okay? 600K subs. His video, last one was 150K, and it was about something that's probably restricted. 600K views, which is frankly like kind of amazing. That's more views than his subs. That's an indication of a healthy channel. 70K, not so much. 150K, 180K, 430. Dude, he's far exceeding his sub growth. This is a popular creator, right? Then Hasan Piker. I don't know which one is. Oh, I guess Hasanabi would be his official one, right? 1.7 million, which means that he knows how to do what he needs to do. 200, 100, 150, 320, 150, 237, 275, 336, 431, 336, 295. Now, this is not a great ratio compared to his subs. I would actually say that he's kind of stagnated compared to his subs, but this is still a healthy channel. This guy can still make easily a 6-figure, if not a 7-figure income if he's posting like this every day and he's getting between 100 and 200,000 views on average. This guy can make stupid amounts of money. And so as a result, this is also a popular creator on the left. And yet Lonerbox just basically says, well, if we actually implemented these policies, not only would they be wildly unpopular and impracticable, but they're effectively like dead on arrival. So why are these guys popular? Thank you, Lonerbox. I appreciate you for saying that so succinctly.
With all this popularity and everything, like, yeah, no fucking wonder. Netanyahu loves this. It's just, you have done like the perfect job of just making this entire movement like eternally fucking confused, intellectually compromised, and produced a fucking mob of like animals waving fucking Hezbollah flags and supporting Houthis and supporting Hamas and everything else, and making excuses for a fucking shooter who goes and guns down two workers at the Israeli embassy. Noah Samson sitting here be like, oh, just read what they were saying. What? The fucking woman who was part of an organization that encourages Israeli and Palestinian cooperation in the tech industry. That person. Read what they were saying. Bro, Netanyahu's loving this shit, man. He loves
Thank you, Bonerbox. I love you.
it. These are your enemies? Fuck yeah, let's go.
What do you mean? Like, that's such a stupid argument. What do you
I made up a dumbass argument, and then I fought the stupid argument, and I won against the stupid argument that I made up. Good job, Hasan. You midwit dumbass. West Coast Girl says, since Connor admitted to being a covert drama frog, I'll start bringing up he who should not be named for the rage outs. Do it. Do it. What, Queeman? I know Queeman. Shit, I like some of Queeman's content. I think he can be overly abrasive to the point that it's actually off-putting. But I like Queeman. Who else, or at least I like his content. Who else should we not be naming? Should it be Jizz Tickle? Dude, I'll talk to J-Stock at any time. Apparently, he was hating on Ukrainian Anna and myself for not liking socialism, and he actually had some really straw-manny points. I'll talk about that. I don't care.
think? Like,
If that's anti-Semitism, the word doesn't mean anything.
yeah,
anymore.
Beef Supreme says, Connor's read on the 2A is rather simplistic. Well, it's 2 sentences. So please tell me what your complex understanding of the Second Amendment is, Beef Supreme. You've said that twice.
then
then being Jewish is being pro-genocide.
Yeah, really wouldn't. Ogre Boy in chat, hey. I got him to come up with a framework, Bonerbox. What, the Bonerbox framework? For when the US should finally invade Israel, when they're finally admitting to ethnic cleansing. Okay. I mean, wow. Is that it? Is that what? Oh yeah. Listen, you guys don't understand. Okay. Listen, this guy doesn't even want to invade Israel. Doesn't even want to invade a nuclear power. Well done. Jesus.
That's what that means. And
Which
it's
is
like, oh, that's anti-Semitic.
which is incredibly anti-Semitic.
Yeah.
Wow.
It is such a
And then he says that would be justified at that point, you dumbass. Dude, I can understand these arguments almost instantaneously. So right now, 60 to 80% of people who are either Jewish diaspora or Israeli support Israel over Palestine within the current dynamic of the conflict. Now, they might not say that they support ethnic cleansing, but they'll say like, yeah, I generally support the IDF doing what it needs to do within Gaza. We still have the hostages. They still need to be returned. Hamas needs to demilitarize, et cetera, et cetera. And if the Palestinians are suffering, that's their problem. That's what I think 60 to 80%, depending on how you ask the question, of diaspora Jews and Israelis believe that statement. Now, what I think Lonerbox said, if I understood what he said correctly, is that, well, let's say that 100% of Jews and Israelis believe that genocide was necessary to secure the state of Israel. Well, if you're anti-Israel at that point, you would technically be anti-Semitic, but being anti-Semitic would be logically justified. I understood that within like 20 seconds of him stating it. Please, if I get that wrong, somebody correct me in chat. But these people, because they're such Dunning-Kruger 80 IQ fucking dumbasses, they can only make up a straw man and knock it down instead of contending with actually what's being said. Sacred Snow says, I'm not pro-gun ban. That stuff is R-slurred. outside of full auto military vehicles, explosives, etc. I'm just making a joke because you were dragging out about the birds deer season shotguns. Gotcha. My apologies for autistically taking you seriously.
Stupid argument that you could only put together if you just think like Jews are magical, mystical, mythical people or something. Like, what the f- do you
But
mean?
they're allowed to do that. Right?
Like, that's so
They get an
insane.
That they're allowed to do that. So we're listening to two people who have both shouted out my content in the past. Hasan shouted out my content on Palestine, actually. And now, because they are so fucking insecure and terrified of actually putting any of these opinions to the test and talking to me about it, have decided to tell their audiences that my opinion is that Jews should be allowed to.
Okay, you guys aren't doing anything. Okay, AF Racing and Beef Supreme. You're like, your argumentation is wildly simplistic. Connor decided what he wanted the 2A to mean and forms arguments to support that, just like everyone who starts with a conclusion and works backwards. It's human. He's not 100% right about everything. Prove me wrong. Go ahead. Seriously. What is it? Time on deck. I love how this is happening. 11:11. It is 11:11 a.m. I am 30 minutes behind on chat because this chat is at 10:50. Okay? I will catch up with you. AF Racing, I expect an explanation about how I'm incorrect. Both Beef Supreme and AF Racing, I am calling you out. If you do not write down a paragraph summary of what I got incorrect, then you can cope and seethe and die mad about it. Okay? I'm calling you out individually. Your fellow chatters should call you the fuck out right now. AF Racing, Beef Supreme, start typing how I'm wrong.
Commit genocide because they're special. Okay.
I mean,
Cute.
that's the
Adorable.
logic of Israel, though. Right? It's like this happened to us, so so anything we do is justified because anything we do is in defense of allowing it to happen again. Just
That is not what Israelis think, you fucking dense, dead behind the eyes, beady-eyed little cunt. No, that is
Lonerbox.
not what Israelis think. Do you know, like, half of the fucking critiques that you guys come up with about Israel, and the reason that you know all these bad things that Israel...
Sorry, chat's more entertaining than the content. No offense, Lonerbox. I love you. AF Racing says he does the same thing with his deism stance. He's afraid of the void, but doesn't want to look like he believes in fairy tales, so he bit hard on JBP. No, AF Racing, you tool bag. And by the way, this is condescending and dismissive. I understand I'm condescending and dismissive all the time, so this is just me getting my just desserts and my medicine. However, there's something that created the universe. The universe is imbued with order that came from something. People 3,000 years ago, 10,000 years ago, 100,000 years ago, did mushrooms and starved themselves in meditative shamanic rituals that allowed them to evaluate moral insights about what it means to be alive and what it means to be sapient and what it means to be human. And they wrote down those insights into mythological histories that have moral prescriptions. And then we carried those moral prescriptions for 3,000 years. And because the moral prescriptions are so complex and weird, some of the moral prescriptions are really, really, really good. Like you shouldn't bang your neighbor's wife because you're going to get murdered, right? And some of them were really bad, like you should just beat the shit out of gay people, right? And so the truth is that we as modern humans need to acknowledge that our predecessors were observing some kind of real phenomena, and we should do analyses of their morals. I accept the void. I'm scared of the void. I don't like the void. I like being alive. I wish I could live forever. I think this is the coolest thing ever. I think it's the coolest thing in the world that I get to wake up, drink caffeine, watch morons on the internet, and talk about really complex ideas with 160 people who have fantastic taste in content. This is amazing. I never want this to end. But I accept the fact that the void is most probable. I will probably be in unconscious oblivion for billions of years. And even if I reincarnate as myself after the universe cycles, or even if I incarnate as some other kind of living creature, the sense of ego that I currently have will probably dissolve. My name, Connor, my last name, will probably die and will not be reiterated in the universe in a way that I remember this life. And that is sad to me. It's sad to me. But that doesn't mean that I don't like evaluate morality or mythology or history or existence or the struggles of sapient beings. Why the fuck would I ever give up on that? It's better than you, AF Racing. I don't know your personal story, but it's better than you anti-theist twats who think that there's no value to history, that there's no value to moral insights of Iron Age peoples, that there's no value to mythology. I think you guys are fucking cringe. Like, I think anti-theism is fucking poison for the soul. So, no. And, you know, you were condescending, so I'm just going to say it. Fuck you.
Are doing is because of fucking Israelis, okay? The reason you know about the history is because of Israelis. You're not going to get like Assad or fucking Saddam Hussein or any of that, like, welcoming people in to look at their documents or having like allowing NGOs to sit in their country and criticize them. You know, there was actually one NGO leader who attacked Hezbollah. Hezbollah murdered him. Yeah, okay? They murdered their critics in the past for going too hard on them.
True.
In Israel, you get actually quite a lot of your information to slam Israel from that country. You get it from B'Tselem, you get it from Haaretz, you get it from whistleblowers, because they host criticism within their own country. We get to shit on their history really hard because they allowed their history to be open to the public. They opened archives so people could go in and see what commanders were saying to each other in the 48 war. The reason that we know that Operation Hiram actually had like some cases where like expulsions and ethnic cleansings were ordered on villages that weren't even fighting because Israel let us see that information. But okay, sure. Wait till any of the fucking international law-abiding fucking animals that you guys support in the Houthis and Hezbollah, wait till they ever do that for you.
Weaponizing it, right?
Contemplative thumbnail. Unacceptable. Oh my god, Israeli policy didn't work at giving.
Wait, how is he putting these two together, this guy? How is he putting it together that I predict the aid plan going wrong, but then there's another thumbnail of me saying that there's shocking details, but it shouldn't be shocking to... Obviously, I'm not saying shocking isn't like, I'm surprised this happened. It's a fucking thumbnail. Like, okay. But, you know, they'll eat it all up. Eat it all up.
Aid to Palestinians in Gaza? No one could have ever seen that coming. It's almost...
You literally just went over a thumbnail of me predicting what would have happened.
God, I hate bad empanada as well.
To the letter. Man, these guys.
Corey Peltzman says, Connor, Israel takes are so smooth brain. Why? Because I'm not simping for it? Because I don't simp for people getting starved? Yeah. Yeah. I still support Israel's right to exist, but I don't support mass starvation. Yeah, whoops.
Like, it's not intended to help them, but it's like, oh man, Israel really effed up. They took a big L here with this bad policy.
Beef Supreme says, thank God there is more than one person in this chat that actually understands the 2A and doesn't read it to allow maximum gun ownership. I don't even think that's my position. I think you're listening to the emotions of what I'm saying and not what I'm literally saying. I agree with Justice Antonin Scalia that you can regulate what kind of weapons human beings have. You can't have a pocket nuke, right? Because the public interest overrides your ability to have a pocket nuke. You can't use a pocket nuke for self-defense. You can't use a pocket nuke for hunting. You can't use a pocket nuke to take down a tyrannical government in a way that doesn't kill hundreds of thousands of people. So there's no reason for a civilian to have unlimited, unfettered access to a pocket nuke, right? So we can start there and then we can move our way in. So don't straw man me. If I'm not straw manning you, give me your best argument, right? Give me your best argument.
I get the issue though, is because they obviously think that like the vocabulary that they would use to describe the GHF plan is how they've just described the aid situation for the entire thing.
Well, Chart says civilians should have access to anything that cops have. Well, by the way, that's pump action and semi-auto shotguns. That's semi-auto rifles. And that's semi-auto pistols. I am perfectly okay with that. And also it's like flare launchers and flashbangs. I'm perfectly comfortable with law enforcement and civilians having the same level of weapon access. 100%.
thing. That's the thing, right? Because these guys have just been calling it famine ever since October 8th.
If Connor believes there's a limit on types of guns, there is a limit on who. Like I said, his reading is simplistic. Beef Supreme, you don't even know my fucking position. I don't think schizophrenics should have guns. I don't think that people with Down syndrome should have guns. I don't think that children should have guns. You're strawmanning something that I never said. So again, like, you're going off of the emotion, not what's literally being said. So feel free to tell me where I'm wrong. I literally made an argument 10 minutes ago that emergency risk protection orders were a natural part of our societal framework that should probably be bolstered and allowed for additional due process so we can integrate it better into government. You understand how much of the Second Amendment community hates that perspective? So don't say my reading of it is simplistic when you're saying things that I don't necessarily disagree with. You're going off of vibes and emotions, not what's actually being said. I expect by 11:15 to see a paragraph-long response.
Yeah. These guys have been calling it famine since October 8th. So obviously, if I talk about the GHF plan and how it's quite exceptionally bad and why it deserves extra scrutiny, these guys, they don't understand that, because it's like, that's why I had people saying like, oh, you've supported this the entire 2 years. Like, what? The GHF plan? What? That thing that's famously lasted for 2 years? That they don't care. They don't care about the conflict. They don't care about any of the...
Beef Supreme says, I've tried before to help you read it more complexly. You haven't said shit yet.
Policies or any of the arguments. That's why they have to just do these stupid fucking straw mans.
Genuinely trying to, like in good faith, trying to implement a policy to help people in Gaza,
good
right?
Faith, Mr. Empanada.
That's the sort of thing that he's going for. And he's like, oh man, I'm just critiquing them. This is a sort
Everyone has something to say about ContraPoints.
of guy who would like critique the amount of rations in the death camps, rather than just denounce the Nazis for having death camps.
Hey,
that's who he
let's
is.
go.
These people are going to be trying to dial back and whitewash what they have been saying this entire time. Think about it.
Lonerbox.
I haven't whitewashed or dialed back fucking anything, buddy, but okay.
This is my favorite Marx is you should listen to him sometimes, brother.
That's awesome.
I bought my wife a Teddy Fresh hoodie yesterday. Long story short, we're getting a divorce, and I'm ashamed to say I was married to an anti-Semite for 10 years.
True, it's anti-Semitic.
Remember it.
Not
Don't let them off the hook.
Teddy Fresh
As
looks
they
like
realize
shit.
that what they're doing doesn't sell anymore.
He did say that. He did that with Vanilla Mace. And this is before I even met Vanilla Mace. Vanilla Mace literally was like, Teddy Fresh tried to send me like a PR poll. And and she was like, yeah, that was like, she's an anti. If you don't wear my adult baby clothes, you are a.
This is like the political equivalent of it. It's like the three dumbest guys in the school are just like
in a smoke circle, jerking each other off, metaphorically. True. Chaotic Neutral became a member. Thank you, King. Appreciate you.
In the fucking boys' toilet, doing the thing where you wet a bit of kitchen towel and throw it in the ceiling so it sticks and looks like a bat cave. Just talking shit about the other people they don't like. Like, it's... What the fuck is this?
Okay. Anonymous Chatter has the closest thing to an argument that I've seen so far. I love how this is primarily a gun segment with Lonerbox in the background. StreamYard. Anonymous says, the Heller decision of 08, the SCOTUS treated the 2A as a restriction on the federal government to regulate states. The Heller ruling is the first time that the 2A was an individual right. You guys are just, you're not giving me shit. Give me a second. I knocked out my own monitors. Okay. So this is my understanding of it. Is that the way that all amendments were translated was that these were limitations on the federal government. And you could go substantively further on states. So prior to the Civil War, you could actually violate the amendments of the constitutions of the United States. It was exclusively a limitation on the federal government. So the federal government states that a well-regulated militia, meaning that a well-trained body of the citizenry, being necessary to the security of a free state, this is the purpose, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. Okay? So the federal government cannot prohibit people to keep and bear arms. Since then, we've had quite a bit of prohibitions. Now, I understand what you're saying, though, where Heller became an assertion that people have the right of the people to keep and bear arms. However, there's something called the Supremacy Clause of the Constitution. The Constitution and the laws of the United States, which shall be made in pursuance thereof, and all treaties made or which shall be made under the authority of the United States, shall be the supreme law of the land, and the judges in every state shall be bound thereby. Anything in the Constitution or laws of the states to the contrary notwithstanding. So this was, when was that written? The Supremacy Clause, I actually don't know where it is. The Supremacy Clause was a response to the problems in the Articles of Confederation, which governed the United States from 1781 to 1789. The Supremacy Clause of the U.S. Constitution was written in 1787 during the Constitutional Convention in Philadelphia. It was included as a part of the final draft of the Constitution, which was then ratified in 1788. So I don't understand how you have the Supremacy Clause stating that the states cannot violate the Constitution of the United States and come away with the fact that the people don't have a right to keep and bear arms. These words are contradictory. So you are going to have to come up with definitions that make sense. Otherwise, I just don't believe you, and I think that you're just using lib fucking argumentation talking points that are contradictory.
Actual, like, fucking Beavis and Butthead politics. Like, Jesus.
He's Semite, dude.
Oh my God, dude.
He straight up said being to anti-Titty Fresh was akin to the Holocaust? No. Stop.
Y'all tripping.
No, he must
He
have
did
said
say
that.
that. I need a link to the clip.
Hey, I need a
That's
link to the
great.
clip.
Yeah, Vanilla
We're never going to look for the clip, are we? Never.
Hamas. Vanilla Hamas.
Oh shit. You got a funny chat, man. Sometimes when they're not yelling at you or trolling you.
Yeah. She wasn't even talking about like Zionism, by the way. She just said the clothes are ugly. That's it.
That's anti-Semitic, man.
Which is, of course, incredibly anti-Semitic. I can't believe you
being
said
Jewish is liking shitty, weird clothes. That's what being Jewish is.
He's gonna clip you.
Anti-Semitic.
He's gonna clip you. He's gonna clip you and be like, "Oh, that's we got him. He's being anti-Semitic. We got him."
Yes. Brother, I was quoting you. You made the sandwich.
Anyway,
they will try to distance themselves from it. Oh, he released another one too. Whistleblower testimony on Gaza aid plan reveals shocking details. This isn't shocking for anyone but you, Lonerbox.
You literally just went over a thumbnail.
Oh my God, you guys are so fucking soy, dude. This is why I'm not a liberal. Okay, this is exactly why I'm not a liberal. I'm a liberal in the sense that I think that maximal human freedom is good. Okay, that's the way in which I'm a liberal. But you guys are so fucking soy, dude. You're so fucking soy. Harley Smith, the real thing that happened is I want to own guns. I can point to something that kind of sorted can be twisted to give me that right, but I don't want the right to extend to things you don't like. What the fuck are you talking about? I'm pointing to the supreme law of the United States of fucking America, dude. This is more of a gun segment than it is a fucking Lonerbox segment, because I think I've responded to two things because Noah Samson and Hasan Piker are such glup shitto means they're not famous. They should be glup shittos because they're so fucking stupid. But you're saying that the supreme law of the land stating a well-regulated militia with historical context says a well-trained militia. And militia definitionally, what do they have? They have the let's go ahead and Google it. Federal Code Militia. Composition and classes. The militia of the United States consists of all able-bodied males at least 17 years of age and except as provided in Section 313 of Title 32, under 45 years of age who are or who have been a declaration of intention to become citizens of the United States and females of the United States who are members of the National Guard. The classes of the militia are the organized militia, which consists of the National Guard and Naval Militia, and the unorganized militia, which consists of the members of the militia who are not members of the National Guard or Naval Militia. Here's the fucking code. This is the supreme law of the land. This is the federal fucking statute. Okay? And then here is, it doesn't get bigger than the amendments to the Constitution of the United States. So I'm not twisting shit. You're ignoring evidence right in front of your face. So on this horseshoe theory, I'm gonna take time in a minute in order to redraw this. But if you're right here, let's say we agree that freedom of speech, freedom of conscience is good. Let's say that we agree that due process is good. Let's say that we agree that the Republic of the United States is good and representative democracy is the best form of governance, is the worst form of governance except for all the other ones. Let's say that we don't care about gay people or black people existing. Let's say that we don't care about Hispanics or people existing or gay people existing or trans people existing. Let's say that you're right here. But let's say that I'm right here and I love guns and militarism, and you want to fucking soy out and try to drag me across this line so I can eliminate my own right to firearms. You can fuck off all the way up this horseshoe. I'm going to treat you like you're far left because you're telling me to read the federal code of what it means to be a part of the militia. You're asking me to read the text of the Second Amendment, and you're asking me to pretend that it doesn't say the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. As a preparatory clause, meaning that this prepares the rest of the sentence, this is stating the purpose of the Second Amendment. This is stating the limitations of the federal government. And as a supreme law of the land, state constitutions can't violate this either. So don't blow smoke up my ass. Don't piss on my leg and tell me it's raining. Don't fucking soy out in my chat. If you want fucking Destiny to jerk you off about how actually guns are just cool and there's no real reason to own a gun, you're in the wrong fucking chat, right? If you want to fight me for the entertainment of the audience, that's totally fine. I love that. But don't fucking try to force feed me fucking tofu and expect me to gobble it down with fucking happiness.
Nail of me predicting what would happen. What do you think I mean by shocking? You under
Anonymous chatter says, the original meant show me. Stop chatting shit. Tell me to Google. Tell me what to Google. Show me where it says that it's for the states to create a militia to fight the federal government. Show me where that's said. Because the way that I read the Second Amendment, it's the right of the people. It's not the right of the states. If they wanted it to be the right of the states, it would be the right of the states. If they wanted it to be the right of the militia to keep and bear arms, that doesn't make fucking sense. So stop telling me your random interpretation of the fucking Second Amendment. Show me where there's contextual and historical documentation that correlates with your definition. Tell me what to Google because you can't link in YouTube chat. You guys are so fucking full of shit. You're full of shit. You're so fucking soy. Shut the fuck up. You're wrong.
Fucking loser. Like, what the fuck?
You're not even shocked by this anyway. You know that you're trying to defend a genocide.
Harley Smith, show me where, show me where, or admit you're wrong, or you're catching a fucking suspension. I'm not putting up with this level of fucking soy. And it's fine if you want guns, and I guess it's fine that people use the 2A to get there, but it's really a stretch. Harley Smith, it's 11:33 a.m. If I get to chat and I don't see an 11:33 post where you say I'm wrong and I'm soying out, or here is an example of text that supports my position, you're getting a temp ban. You're getting suspended. I'm not having this fucking soy in my chat where you guys are like, actually, it just means the government can have guns. It doesn't convey any kind of individual right to firearms, even though it plainly says the right of the people to keep and bear arms. I don't have any historical contemporaneous documentation that shows that my interpretation is correct. I'm just making this shit up because I've heard it. If you're just making shit up because you've heard it, you're fucking wrong. You're in the wrong chat. So you better have some fucking historical contemporaneous fucking thing for me to Google when I get to you. Otherwise, you're catching a fucking suspension. Not putting up with that shit. I'll tell you what. Soy fucks.
You're consciously doing so. You know what's happening. You're just trying to defend it. Whoa, shocking details. Everyone knew this was happening from the very beginning. Everyone knows.
Okay, conservatism makes a good point, which is if you're moving out at 18, you should have the right to defend yourself. I actually agree with that.
What they're doing in Gaza and why they're doing it. You're just trying to...
Beef Supreme, you're right with Harley Smith. If you don't tell me historical documentation, and if you don't show me historical documentation by 11:30, you're catching a suspension too. I don't care if I love you. I don't care if you super chatted in the past. I'm not putting up with this soy lib bullshit where you guys don't have anything. You just keep asserting a position without evidence. I will be happy to read your evidence on stream. I will not have fucking soy liberal fucking people in my chat soying about how the individual right to firearms never fucking existed prior to Heller, but then they have no contemporaneous historical evidence showing that it was supposed to be a limited right exclusive to the National Guard of states. What a weird way to interpret. Like let's go ahead and just look at a cowboy. Yep. 1 o'clock. Yep. Let's go ahead and just look at a cowboy. Okay. Cowboy. Not the sports team. Is this guy a part of the National Guard? Is this guy a part of the National Guard? Is this guy a part of the National Guard? Is this guy a part of the National Guard? Is this guy a part of the National Guard? Is this guy a part of the National Guard? Is this guy a part of the National Guard? Is this guy a part of the National Guard? Is this guy a part of the National Guard? No, he's an individual asserting his Second Amendment rights. Let's go ahead and look at a coach shotgun. Well, hold on. Let's do settler art. America. Every single one of these motherfuckers, they got that thing on them. They got fucking muskets and shit. Are they all a part of the National Guard? Is this guy a part of the National Guard? Are these people a part of the National Guard? Are these people a part of the National Guard? Are these people a part of the National Guard? Are these people a part of the National Guard? Are these people a part of the National Guard? Are these people a part of the National Guard? I'm not even Googling like fucking muskets and shit, but half of these fucking pictures just have people with muskets in them. And they're regular citizens. So what the fuck are you talking about? This is literally just, I Googled the word settler art America, and look at what's popping up. A homestead that he built himself and a gun. You guys are fucking horrible. You're horrible at argumentation. So start arguing or catch a temp ban.
Pretend otherwise because you're an idiot. Well, yeah, you are an idiot. You're stupid. But
is he just riffing off of thumbnails? Is this what the content is now and people watch this? Okay, whatever works.
You're not defending genocide because you're an idiot. You're defending genocide incompetently because you're a shit, terrible person paid by Israel to do so.
Then watch the original content, Bad Empanada, you effing slur. Pick a slur. Pick whatever slur you think applies to Bad Empanada. Pick a slur.
Little rats are going to be scurrying out.
I think the saddest part for many of these people is, I don't know about Lonerbox, but like a lot of them are not even paid by Israel to do this. Yeah. They're literally doing this because
they're not.
Harley Smith, you better present a fucking argument or you're catching a perma. And he has years of people interpreting it his way. So yeah, you're in a modern context. He has the Southern Supreme Court backing. It's not a winnable argument from his side. Go ahead. Go ahead, bro. Show me evidence. Put up or shut up. I'm not fucking taking this shit. Like literally, when I get to 11:30, I'm going to end this segment and y'all better like we probably still got 10 minutes, 20 minutes left in this. I am scrolling all the way through chat and I am finding all of the arguments that it's the exclusive right of states to limit firearms ownership to the National Guard. I am finding those you are finding those historical sources or you're getting banned. I'm not putting up with your fucking lib soy bullshit.
They just back.
A lot of them aren't even paid. Why are you pretending like you have any fucking idea who is or isn't getting paid by the Israeli government? You fucking idiot. God. Why would you even pretend to know that?
The wrong horse. Some of this does go back to Destiny because these guys are like his dick riders, right? His orbiters. They call themselves that. And basically after October 7th.
Deep swallow. Look at this. My backwards button is fucked up, but look at this.
Some of this does go back to Destiny because these guys are like his dick riders, right? His orbiters. They call themselves that. And basically after October 7, this
chewing on his lip and staring into the distance as he realizes he's a fucking Hasan orbiter. Nice.
Moron who is a horrible deadbeat dad and a sex pest decided, oh, Hasan is pro-Palestine. I'm pro-genocide. And he just...
Nobody said that shit, you fucking dumbass.
Came out of the gate swinging with that statement and then had to basically engage in the...
Is anyone going to mention how that statement... He's got the timeline wrong. He said that before October 7th. Is anyone going to mention how I pushed back against that and actually wrangled...
Oh, he who shall not be named is Hunter Biden. Did you flat out ban his name one day? No, I don't ban any topics. Oh, I did say we have to stop talking about it though. I'm never gonna like ban keywords But yeah, like if there's a topic that like you're distracting from the content, kind of like how you guys are distracting me with Second Amendment content, but I enjoy it because I love guns and I love talking about guns. But yeah, I think there was one day where chat was triggering me so fucking hard that I literally could not do the segment because they just kept saying wrong shit. And so I had to like set a time limit for when we could talk about Hunter, because if you guys kept doing it, it would have been impossible. We would have never gotten any content done. That was a funny day.
Hold Stephen into being more amenable to a two-state solution? I don't know. Probably not, you know, because two-state solution is probably the same. It's just like genocide light to these guys, right?
Worst.
Beef Supreme says, no, I'm past the 2A talk for today. Like I said before, I tried a while ago. No. Beef Supreme, wrong answer. It's 11:08. I'm telling you right now, if by 11:40 you don't have a historical argument, you're getting a temp suspension. I don't even care if you're a good member of the community. I love you. I'm not putting up with that shit. You can be wrong. You can present evidence. We can disagree. I don't care about disagreeing. If you present evidence and then I see it one way and then you see it one way, I don't care if we disagree. You can see it the way that you want to see it. That's not what I'm mad about. What I'm mad about is the constant assertion of some historical context that, to me, you have not presented evidence for. And so you can either present evidence and we can disagree, or you can get suspended. Dude, I'm not doing that. To make it clear, I want you to hear me when I'm saying this. I don't care if we disagree. I can have an opinion. I can be wrong in my opinion. That's fine. You can have an opinion. I can think you're wrong in opinion. That's not my problem. My problem is the constant assertion of a confident historical interpretation without evidence. Present evidence.
Ad hoc rationalizations I have ever fucking seen. And he had the audacity to do this in
You're not even watching the original content because you're too much of a pussy to actually deal with the original content, Hasan Piker.
real time, okay? Basically documenting every step he took, and all of his dumbass orbiters that aren't even getting paid by the state of Israel.
Oh, we're not getting paid, are we?
That guy, Destiny, that guy's girlfriend, I think. Something like that.
Damn, that's fucked up.
I don't know.
There's some weird lore with them.
I don't know.
Like,
Sex shaming. I'm all about sex shaming. I love that shit. I love sex shaming, but aren't y'all supposed to be liberals and progressives with positive sexual attitudes?
This is your leftist your leftist men, by the way. Your male feminists.
True. Grassroots gifted 5 Valor Media Network memberships. What a king. Love you, Grassroots. Thanks for being here.
Wasn't that really funny, that whole story about someone having her privacy?
It's not happening. I went through this with... No. Beef Supreme, you don't get it. Either by 11:40, you share a historical thing or you catch a suspension. That's it. I'm not doing that. I'm not... Like I don't even know how long the suspensions are. Put user in a timeout. Timeouts could be like 15 minutes. But I'm not incentivizing that behavior. Okay, I will cope and seethe. Okay, cool. Then stop talking about it. Yeah, Beef Supreme, I'm giving you an out. I'll give you an out. You can either cope and seethe about it and drop the topic. I'm okay with that. But the other two, who was it? It was Beef Supreme and it was fucking somebody soy. Some fucking liberal soy person in my chat. If nobody present Timothy Douglas. No, it's not Timothy Douglas. Who was it? Harley Smith. If Harley Smith doesn't have an argument by the time that I catch up with chat, you're catching a temp. Sorry, I'm not putting up with that shit.
Violated in one of the worst possible fucking ways and suffering like quite severe fucking mental, emotional trauma because of it. Wasn't that really funny to just bring that up and use it to attack someone because I'm too much of a fucking dipshit to actually challenge any of the arguments that he makes? Yeah, well. Good for you, Noah. Good for you.
Corey Peltzman said something accidentally funny. Jewish people have intergenerational trauma, and the October 7th supporters are the new Nazis. Dude, imagine if like genocide, like ethnic cleansing. Imagine if Israel like started ethnically cleansing Gaza where they literally just like they killed the Egyptian border guards and then they just started marching through Gaza, pushing all the Gazan civilians into the Sinai, into Egypt. And then the Israeli government came out and they're like, ooh, woo, I'm just a small bean. I'm just a cutesy boy. It's my birthday. And I have intergenerational trauma. Fuck.
Do what you're good at.
I don't know like the deep details of the lore and their background. I don't
know about all that. Yes,
you don't know something created the universe, so you've already proven my point that you started with the conclusion and worked backwards. Yeah, the evidence of the universe being created is you and I are having this fucking conversation, AF Racing. You can say it's unconscious. It's an accident of existence. Okay. The universe still was created. You can say that created implies a creator, but you can at least admit that the universe exists, right? Like that you hear these words coming out of my mouth. You can admit that you exist.
You do. You browse the shit all the fucking time. You follow and retweet the craziest fucking posters on Twitter. Like the fact that he pretends to not care or know about this is so stupid.
I don't care to know. It's just like,
but it's just like they're doing it for free because they are part of the orbit.
Yeah,
like
but it's
and then they
crazy.
join in on the propaganda.
It's crazy. At least like you could have gotten some benefits out of this, man. You just are doing this for free.
If I wanted money, because I know how Social Blade works, I know how the international, like the global zeitgeist goes.
Do it. Tell us how to grift, Lonerbox. Tell us.
Bob, if I wanted money, I would be posting all of the same retarded shit that you do. That's what I'd be doing. Except I'd probably be better at it because I actually know how to read. Like, yeah, I'd probably be able to support the Houthis in a way that doesn't leave me exposing myself saying, yeah, they're actually really good at international law. Like, yeah, I'd probably be a better fucking pro-Palestine propagandist than either of these two put together. Like, what the fuck? Wouldn't find myself running into fucking rakes all the time about perfect phone calls and fucking Houthi glazing. Yeah.
Ooh, Bo Dickerson says tradition is a set of solutions for which we have forgotten the problems. Throw away the solution and you get the problems back. Based.
Might have got a free trip, but like
free trip to Israel.
Yeah, thank you. Super
Free trip to where else did we go? Well, yeah, went to the West Bank. You should add that one in. A free trip to the West Bank.
Super
Great.
awesome. They got to hang out with Elon Levy. That's yeah.
I got
the best thing ever.
I got a free trip to Israel, and what is it? Here's a link to the vanilla thing. Oh, I think
who hit me up today on Instagram? Teddy Fresh. They said, "Hey, we'd love to send you some stuff." How about?
Remember the ground zero of that. The ground zero of that Israel and Palestine trip. Yeah, these guys just did UT Postais Juris, by the way, by calling it all Israel. Fucking dipshits. The ground zero of that the ground zero of that trip to Israel was because we were invited by an Arab, by a Palestinian, because Sev suggested it on a stream, and then when he was in a call with me and Destiny, and then Destiny was just like, yeah, maybe we'll actually do that. That's where it started. That was the genesis. My face when the romantic partner of someone who is criticizing me becomes a victim of revenge porn. Okay.
All right. I'm going to defend Lonerbox's honor harder than he's defending his own honor. My understanding, these are all allegations, mythos. Pixie can correct me. Lonerbox can correct me. Steven can correct me. This is the information that I'm getting as an outside person. So Pixie was a virginal personality who did not have a lot of sexual experience and was interested in experimenting with stuff. She was in Miami, didn't have a lot of friends, didn't have a lot of, people to hang out with, et cetera, et cetera. Steven, at the time, was in his red pill arc, so a lot of people viewed him as a sex guru. I think that's cringe, but I think that's cringe because I'm 40 years old And I have my own experiences from the time that I was 15 to 25. And I was cringe from 15 to 25. So I can't really hate on a 19-year-old doing something cringe. That's actually pretty normal. So Pixie says, hey, Steven, let's hook up. And, maybe we'll videotape some stuff. Maybe we'll share it around. Maybe we'll be a little promiscuous, but I want to keep it on the down low because I'm a pretty, inexperienced person. And Steven says yes. Now, allegedly, Steven shared those videos around, but I don't even think that's even necessary information for this part of the drama. Pixie and Lonerbox, again, you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, they flirt a little bit during PV, and I think that they exchange romantic communications as well. I think they say that they're not dating, but it's very clear that they're friends, good friends, bordering on romantic. And I will say, while we were hanging out at PV, the vibes, there were good vibes, right? Between Lonerbox and Pixie. I think she was crushing on him a little bit. I think he was amenable to the crushing. And so they could be boyfriend, girlfriend. They could be open. I don't give a shit. But having this, this is supposed to be like the further left guy with a pedo stash who's like a former lacrosse player douchebag who adopted all of the most extreme left-wing politics in order to be cool on the internet. For him to say, oh, before Lonerbox had kind of a romantic relationship with Pixie, she had a romantic relationship with Steven. What does that do? I love slut shaming. I love slut shaming. I love shaming you guys for your promiscuous degenerate behavior. But why is a leftist slut shaming? Don't you guys love all that shit? Don't you love all the fucking degenerates and the polycules and the open relationships and all that bullshit? So Noah Sampson, I accuse thee of being a hypocritical piece of shit. So go fuck yourself, you terrorist apologizing fucking dumbass. And with that, we're going to end that segment, and I'm going to sprint through chat so I can beat the shit out of you rhetorically. So your time, we will get another, we'll do like a Cenk Uygur segment or something. We'll do something before we leave. I have 1 hour till my doctor's appointment, but I'm going to come beat the shit out of you. Where are any of these points in the 2A? I can literally recite it from memory. Okay? A well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. It's within the clause, the right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. That's where I'm inferencing my context. Just your opinion. Harley Smith, you're on the verge. You better have something for me. I'm going to catch up with you, bitch. I'm going to fucking catch up with you. You better have some historical fucking references for me in the next 20 minutes of scrolling, or I'm going to fuck you up. You're going to be lucky if you catch a temp suspension. Nah, that's just your opinion, man. That doesn't work for me. That's some 80 IQ shit. You're in the wrong chat. This is a 3000 IQ chat. If you got 80 IQ, that's not my problem. Harley Smith, you even chastised someone for bringing up hunting earlier. Yeah, no shit, because that's not in the Second Amendment. There's scrolling. I'm coming for you like a fucking panther. I am stalking the jungle canopy, and I'm looking for your fucking neck so I can rip it out of your throat. What about a minigun for home defense? Yeah, based. How about armor-piercing rounds? Based. Gilroy VFX says, I appreciate all your opinions on theists and the history of everything and that you're open-minded. Honestly, your acceptance of who you are as a person and what you believe is why I show up. Thank you, Gilroy, but right now I'm trying to rip Second Amendment soy fucks. I'm trying to rip their throats out. Thanks for the positive energy, though. You guys got nothing. You got nothing. And you acknowledged previously my reading, lol, not supporting it, but acknowledging it. Dude, give me something. Give me anything, Beef Supreme. Give me anything. Harley Smith is about to get fucking rhetorically assaulted. But Beef Supreme, I will accept you, showing your neck. But I want to at least hear where you're getting your argumentation from. Even just say, this is the document that we looked up for my line of historical argumentation. I need that. Grassroots for 20, thank you. Schizophrenics and mentally ill people with drug problems and the mentally disabled should have more access to guns because they are a vulnerable community. Go fuck yourself. Hi, Vlad. All right. I'm stalking the jungle canopy. Where are you? Conservative liberalism says most of our founders were autistic schizophrenics. They clearly weren't about to disfranchise their own people. Base memes. Phased plasma rifle in the 45-watt range. True. I won't hold my breath. Nothing so far, guys. I'm up to 1125. I originally challenged you at 1118. I am seeing fucking nothing. KO Dave says, I don't care what SCOTUS has to say about the Second Amendment. SCOTUS was willfully ignored the whole well-regulated militia part of the Second Amendment. It's right there in plain English. No shit, KO Dave. I've already addressed this. By the way, you're catching friendly fire, so my apologies to you. I don't even have to do it. A well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state. That's not a regulatory clause. That's a preparatory clause stating a purpose. And I've already shown you how the federal U.S. code shows that there's the organized and unorganized militia. It's men from 18 to 45 and women who are members of the National Guard. So take the fucking L. Regulate states from doing what? Oh, yeah. The well-regulated doesn't even mean laws. It means well-trained. A well-lawed militia, that's your interpretation? Are you dumb? Because if you're dumb, you're in the wrong chat. Soy dipping noises, nothing but memes so far. Connor, talking about the long hour ago where the name United States made some sense. Key said, did Pisco purchase Discord or Destiny anti-fans yet? No idea. Soy. Wait, what is soy in this context? It's fucking people who are too pussy to admit that they're wrong about guns. West Coast Girl says it's impossible to have an in-depth argument in chat, not only 150K. Oh, a dodge. Dodge, nice dodge. No historical sources, no saying, hey, no saying, hey, this is the historical documentation or a historical event that backs up my perspective. Just saying, hey, I have to call in to argue this. That's not a reference. That's not a historical reference. I'm not a liberal because reading the law as written is soy. Yeah, apparently. Lonerbox is boring, duh, and doesn't mean he's not smart. Doesn't mean he's not funny. PS Work says, oh my God, how many definitions does soy have now? It just means like annoyingly liberal, annoyingly progressive. I'm learning so many words today. Good. Regulated means more than trained. It's organized. No, Harley Smith, I'll prove you wrong in a moment, but that's not a historical source. That's not a reference. So nothing. You guys have nothing. It's 11:31 a.m. I asked you for a historical reference at 11:18 a.m. AF Racing says me, pro 2A. Also me. Connor's arguments in support of 2A could be better. Okay, and? You're not saying anything. You've said nothing. Melody says, I just want gun safety to be updated in all the systems it's related to be brought into the 21st century. That has nothing to do with what we're talking about. Harley Smith says, don't strawman me. I know the law is that we're talking about the 2A, not laws derived from them. I think the current laws aren't in line or fairly drawn from the 2A here. That's not a historical source. All you fucking twats earlier were arguing that I had an overly simplistic, stupid, myopic, ahistorical interpretation of the Second Amendment. I ask you for contradictory historical information. You've given me nothing. You've given me nothing. I've given you 30 minutes to find something. If I was making this argumentation in chat and my favorite parasocial streamer called me the fuck out, you know what I would have done? I would have Googled my line of argumentation in order to find what supported my line of argument. So even if it wasn't good argumentation, I at least had something. Harley Smith, who's the other fucking guy who says that we've already had this fucking argumentation? You've given me nothing and you've had 30 minutes to do it. I'm only here to fight you. You don't have to agree, just fight. Nope. That's not an argument. That's not evidence. That's not anything that supports your position. Connor is best arguing with people. I don't think it suits him to be a React Andy. Well, you know, I get more donos when I do React Andy. Sacred Snow says the Supreme Court can't agree. I'm about to catch up with you guys. I only have like 2 more pages of scrolling. You guys have done nothing. You sat there for 30 minutes. I'm going to scroll through all this shit. The Supreme Court can't agree on an interpretation of the 2A. I don't think all of us Spurgs in chat, are going to come for a unified interpretation. Nope. That's not a historical argument. That doesn't back up the perspective that my interpretation is myopic. PS Work says he has 2 so behind now. I think it's like 25 minutes. Doesn't matter. Conservative liberalism is a stretch to have the personal ownership of guns when it explicitly states the right of the people. Is this seriously being backed because it's a Destiny talking point? Come on, guys. Even you could have said like Federalist 29 or something. Fucking brain rot if that's the case. Use your own gray matter, people. Yeah, dude, they're repeating arguments that they did no research for. Come on, guys. Why is he conflating militias and the National Guard? Because that was your guys' argumentation. The formal militia is the National Guard. The organized militia is the National Guard. Click the RuPaul cowboy. Fuck you. Harley Smith says, I want you to realize you're asking for an impossibility. No one is saying that it was illegal to own guns in America. You guys are fucking dumb as shit. You suck. You're catching a temp. I'm telling you. Anonymous says the Federalist paper are where they discuss things like that. I'm talking about with 2A, U.S. versus Miller 1939 was one of the better SCOTUS cases. To be fair, I own guns and I'm drama baiting. Okay. Well, you gave me like $100 the other day and you gave me $50 the other day, so I can't ban you. Connor's correct. The 2A is pretty clear. Come on, guys. You're failing. Yeah, but they confiscated the Cowboys' guns when they came into town. Checkmate, conservatives. Well, I would say those were the liberals and progressives violating the spirit of the Second Amendment, but okay. On the cowboy analogy, you can take it one step further. The Minutemen had guns, and they had guns because even in the 1600s, the British common law acknowledged the right. There you go. West Coast Girl says, pulls up cat wearing cowboy cat. Is he part of the National Guard? Yes or no? Own chatter. True. No. You won't catch a perma. I'll do temps, but you're so fucking weak. I know you made this, but where does power come from? I.e. history is a U.S. firearm ownership debate with destiny. Are these arguments come from destiny? Yeah. AF Racing says 2LDR Second Amendment protects states' rights to form militias primarily and protects bearing arms from Fed infringement in order to close the backdoor to ending militias. Where the fuck is that stated? That's an assertion. You haven't given me historical documentation that backs your assertion. Give me historical or legalistic documentation that backs your assertion. You can't state something as an opinion and say this opinion comes from my asshole. That doesn't work for me. You have to say, I base my opinion on this information. This is how I got there. Beef Supreme says, if I get banned for this, then I get banned. I haven't really made any arguments except I disagree with his reading and how he gets the gunnership. Wrong. Wrong, Beef Supreme. And you won't catch a ban because you're one of my most loyal soldiers. But what I will not accept, I'm setting this as precedent, by the way, okay? I'm setting this as precedent. Beef Supreme, whoever that fucking soy guy is, who I'll recognize when I see his name again, if you make an argument in my chat that I disagree with and I ask you for backup information and you do not provide historical, legalistic, journalistic references for your perspective, you're going to catch temps and eventually you're going to catch a ban. Okay? It just is what it is. I like you, Beef Supreme. I've seen you donate before. I think we've agreed on a substantive amount of things. Harley Smith, I think, is his name. I don't think we've agreed on shit. I think he's a fucking soy liberal. But at the same time, I welcome a diversity of opinions. I am not shitting on you for having diverse opinions. I'm shitting on you for asserting an argument, saying my argumentation is bad, and then providing no evidence for your argumentation. That's what I'm shitting on you for, to be clear. Do not listen to the emotion of what I'm saying. Listen to the words that I'm saying. I don't care if we disagree. I want your evidence. Paul says, I mean, it's kind of cringe to keep an open mind on whether a YouTuber is paid by Israel. What an own shirt, own goal got him. Well, all right. Stephen catching strays. Not my fault. Not my fault. Noonan Star says the Second Amendment was adopted to protect the rights of the people of each of the several states to maintain a well-regulated militia. Noonan Star, you're fucking wrong, but you're not even the people who I was originally talking about. A well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state. Where in that clause does it state that the states have a right to create an organized militia? Fucking nowhere. You pulled that out of your ass, and you don't have any contemporaneous fucking historical references because otherwise you would have shared them. The right of the people to keep and bear arms. Who has the right? Is it the militia? Is it the states? Or is it the people? It's the people. The right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. So, Noonan Star, you didn't make any historical arguments, but you're just fucking wrong. LB says, Connor is a dad who threatens to beat you for something, but just ends up yelling so the whole neighborhood can hear. Yeah, you're right. If I could beat you, I would beat you right now. You guys would get a spanking for this bad argumentation. I would spank the fuck out of you for this. Appreciate you, Beef. I don't appreciate you, Beef. You basically backed down and didn't provide me any historical. And then you said that we talked about it once before. I don't remember our conversation. So tell me what you told me before. It should be right there. It should be right there. It should be at the top of your fucking head. Hey, last time we talked about this, this is the historical case that I cited. And I can say, oh, I reviewed that. I disagree. We could end the beef right there, Beef Supreme. Sacred Snow says you're conflating Harley and Beef's arguments. Beef hasn't really gone that hard other than he disagrees with your reading of the... no, Breathe, brother. No. Nope. You can't say you disagree and then come up with no contradictory evidence. It's not happening. I'm caught up to 11:43. It's 12:05. You guys have nothing. You sat on your dick for 30 minutes. You sat on your dick for 30 minutes. You didn't do anything. Thung Dark says, maybe watch Hank Green's video on gerrymandering. No. Gen X says, I'm purposely staying out of the 2A combo. The plain text says that it says SCOTUS interpreted it as they wanted, so it is what it is. 54 likes on 160 live. You better like this fucking stream right now. Quick shill time while I'm trying to catch up and beat the shit out of my chat. Like the stream. Share it with your friends. Engage in chat. I promise I won't ban you. Comment for the comment gods. Watch the VODs. Love the VODs. Enjoy the VODs. Super chats if you got them. Memberships if you got them. AF Racing says, no, I'm done. Connor only gets us upset when he's adequately challenged. I've been watching long enough. Adequately challenged? You haven't done shit. You haven't done dick. You were fucking lazy. You asserted Daddy Destiny's arguments, and then when I challenged you on it, and I looked for information, you guys didn't have, you had a fistful of fucking nothing. Beef Supreme, I won't engage in two stuff. You backed off immediately. No evidence. No evidence. Nothing. This is embarrassing. This is sad. But if I catch a temp ban, I completely get it. This is sad. This is sad. You guys didn't even try. You guys didn't even try. Kill yourselves. Not literally, but this is sad. I'm disappointed. Like a dad disappointed in his children, I am disappointed in Harley. I am disappointed in Beef. I am disappointed in AF Racing. I'm limited to 150 characters. I've submitted a link in numerous comments over the past 30 minutes arguing my position. No, you haven't. I've just scrolled over 40 fucking minutes. Don't gaslight me. I think it's well over a paragraph. What's your historical contemporaneous argument for why the Second Amendment enables exclusively states to run militias? Noonan Star says you're spewing propaganda. Noonan, you're about to catch a temp unless you fucking come up with something. Dude, guys, I'm catching you. We're at 11:52. Just me and you and Shelly have a better understanding of how my reading gets to the same point just differently, I guess. Dude, you've got nothing. This is embarrassing. I'm embarrassed. Dude, I will lose 30% of my viewership. I don't give a shit. Rob says, in the text of the Second Amendment, the right to keep and bear arms is conferred to the people collectively rather than persons individually. Do you have a reason to believe it's individuals? Yeah, I have the history of the entire fucking United States where individuals constantly have the ability to keep and bear arms. Yeah, that's what I have. What, as a matter of fact, Rob, that's the closest thing to an argument that I have read in the past 30 minutes of scrolling, or 10 minutes, 20 minutes of scrolling through chat, desperately looking for evidence of an argument. Do you have evidence that it refers to the people collectively and not individually? I'll take that. That would at least be something. Evan says, I think the truth is more that everyone in the space where a bunch of gooners are way public perception was maintained by Pixie Doe was done to avoid the shaming you might lay on her. Okay. Noonan Star, this is from Desi's response to the lawsuit, but the Pixie stuff is from 2020. The Red Pill arc is 2022 to 23, and the Lonerbox stuff is 24. Yeah, but I think the sex stuff was leaked in 22 and 23. I'm okay with this, all the sex, as long as it's between adults. Shaming for promiscuous behavior comes off as jealousy, always comes from the married ones, etc. Dude, I'm not jealous. I have 2 kids. I'm happy. I would rather have 2 kids than have all the degenerate, gross sex that you guys are having. Don't forget to hedge, guys. Pixie is going through a lot right now. Yeah. Be nice to Pixie, obviously. Connor increasing the execution-based executioner. Do nothing. We can't let him chat. Yeah, you guys better just start spamming in chat so I don't catch you. Wish I could spend more time on it right now. It's fun. You've given me nothing. You've given me nothing. KO Dave says, recommended read if you're interested is the beginning of the universe of units from nothing. Oh, now we're just dodging the 2A stuff? Sacred Snow says, Beef Supreme at 11:40. Be like, my ancestors are smiling at me, Imperial. Can you say the same? Why is he scrolling through the whole chat instead of just responding live? Because this is how we do it. Shut the fuck up. Wait, who wrote the stream titled Guns and Gators? Nice. Nothing. You guys have nothing. Militias are comprised of private citizens and not citizens. So by default, individuals can own guns to be in a militia, not to own it for hunting or self-defense. Beef Supreme, I'm going to point this out again. You've made an assertion. You've made a statement of opinion. From where do you derive your opinion? What is the historical evidence of your opinion? Connor, you can't ignore me and then said I've said nothing. Say what you got to say, AF Racing. Write out the fucking paragraph. I've literally just scrolled through 50 fucking chats. I didn't see shit come from you. End sort. This is mostly troll logic. Should keep him bare. That's not the same thing as buy, own, or register. Does it seem like his chat is out of order? Looks like it's sorted from top to not all. Nope. This is chronological. Okay, Arkansas versus Buzzard was the case in my head. Look it up. Not individual or collectivist. You might have just saved yourself. Took you 40 fucking minutes to come up with a case. Arkansas versus Buzzard. State versus Buzzard. State versus Buzzard is an 1842 case determined by the Supreme Court of Arkansas in which the defendant Buzzard was charged with violating Arkansas state law that prohibited the carrying of concealed weapons. He claimed that this law infringed upon his constitutional right to keep and bear arms enumerated in the Second Amendment. Arkansas trial court struck down the state law, so the state appealed to Arkansas Supreme Court. A majority held that the sole intent of the Second Amendment was for the states to have a militia to protect themselves against a national army that could infiltrate and overthrow them. In its view, because of its original intent, it was never meant to apply to a right to individuals to bear arms. Okay, that's something. It's something. Thank you. The Supreme Court of Arkansas reversed the order of the trial court. In the majority opinion, Chief Justice Daniel Ringo states that the state legislature is within its power to make laws such as these to help with the preservation of peace and domestic tranquility. Chief Justice Ringo also mentioned in his decision that by participating within American democracy, citizens must allow certain rights that may have restrictions placed upon them in order to reap all the advantages that come with the American government. I mean, I think this is authoritarian and cringe, but thank you for giving me a historical reference. Chief Justice Ringo felt strongly that if subjected to no legal regulation or limitation whatever, would tend to unhinge society and most probably would soon cause it to fall back into its natural state or seek refuge or security from the government or whatever. The majority also stated that the intent of the Second Amendment was the states to have a militia to protect themselves against a national army that could infiltrate and overthrow. Because of this original intent, the Second Amendment was never meant to apply to a right granted to individuals. Oh, okay. Oh. You guys edged me. You edged me so hard. Relationship to modern gun rights. General sentiment in Jacksonian America was the right to bear arms was limited to militia service. The debate over the Second Amendment in this era centered, as it continues to do today, around the relationship between self-defense, militia service, and the right to bear arms. In State versus Buzzard, Chief Justice Ringo contends that the right to bear arms was intended to apply to the militia due to the consensus that a well-regulated militia offered the best security available to a free state. I mean, I think that he's doing cartwheels, but that's fine. Since the people of the United States were intimidated by the idea of a large army in times of peace, a lesser means of security was provided, which would allow states to defend themselves from conspirators and attacks on civil liberties. For this reason, the state of Arkansas did not interpret the Second Amendment as an individual right. Furthermore, according to Chief Justice Ringo, to carry a concealed weapon would imply that individuals may seek redress in their own manner for invasions of their own liberty, which is true. However, to ensure justice and protect liberty are the duties of the government, not the individual. This decision is the precedent of choice for contemporary Americans who champion a narrow reading of the Second Amendment. Okay, I hate it, but it exists. And I don't know where Chief Justice Ringo of the Arkansas state got his interpretation of the fucking militia, but you know what? I applaud you. I applaud you. I applaud you. Harley Smith. Everybody give Harley Smith a fucking round of applause. Harley Smith made an assertion that pissed me the fuck off. And not only did he piss me off continually, he looked up a source that actually supported his perspective. I think his source sucks, and it's not enough for me to change my mind, but he researched his perspective. We can go back to a state of peace and tranquility. AF Racing says, in the 1939 Supreme Court considered the matter in U.S. States of versus Miller. There, the court adopted a collective rights approach to determine that Congress could regulate. Okay. The National Guard is downstream from the Second Amendment. Connor, don't be so dense. Noonan Star, you're being condescending. You're about to catch the fucking tent ban that fucking Holly almost caught. Chaotic Neutral, $5 says, take a donut for the arguments. Sawed-off shotgun, which moved in interstate commerce from the National Firearms Act of 1934 because the evidence did not suggest that the shotgun had some reasonable relationship to the preservation or efficiency of a well-regulated militia. The court then explained that the framers included the Second Amendment to ensure the effectiveness of the military. Okay, AF Racing, I'm going to give you a round of applause. Thank you for not only making an assertion, but looking for a historical document that supports your assertion. Rob says, Theodore Sedgwick, proponent of the individual right and Federalist representative, opined during the ratification of the U.S. Constitution that the American could never be oppressed by tyrannical government since its liberty-loving population was already armed. All right, cool. Christian Blair says, Wyatt Earp was not a liberal progressive lol. He just didn't like the OG Bloods Cowboys gang fucking shit up in Tombstone. Sure. Anonymous says, I'm providing better technical historical context. Original interpretation was from the Federalist Papers, U.S. versus Miller 1939 and Heller 2008, but I wouldn't give up my guns if they banned them. I'm not that soy. Okay, guys, we can return. The Grillaban, Grillhotistan was upset by social discontent. But what I'm going to say, Harley, and what I'm going to say, AF Racing, and what I'm going to say, Beef Supreme, I do not care if you disagree with me. Fuck, I want you to disagree with me so I have something to fucking fight on with chat, right? I want you to disagree with me. What I do not want, and what I do not want to normalize in this space, is making arguments without any research and when pressed, having no supporting historical, legal, logical rationale, okay? So while I was a total twat, I appreciate you guys looking up some argumentation. So now I'm just going to catch up with you so we can move into another thing. Here's your historical document. Pulls up a crayon drawing of Connor as a soy jack. All right. All right. I'm not ignoring that, AF Racing. You're wrong. All right. No, AF Racing, I understand English just fine. Rob says, drop the study and chill chat for Discord about the historical references for both individualistic and collective interpretations. It does seem like the individual version is more recent. Okay. I think Connor arguing with Beef Supreme is subtle court advertising for Taco Bell. True. Noonan Star says you jumped over it. That's not my fault. There's fucking 150 people making 3,000 chats. You understand that, right? Can you sympathize with my position that I have to scroll through 3,000 fucking chats in order to find the information? Gen X says, oh my God, Valor posted Houston. We might do that. All right. All right. Let's, I still have like 3 pages to catch you guys, but I can't because you guys keep chatting so much. So I parasocially love you. Thank you for hanging out for the past 20 minutes as I just scream at chat about, give me a source, give me a source, give me a source, give me a source. But I still have 45 minutes before I got to go. So let's do a quick Destiny Pangburn segment. Pangburn. Is it in videos or live? Because I see 15 hours ago a Houston segment. Yeah, anti-Trump tour Houston. Let's do that. All right. All right. And then let me edit my stream. Oh, let me see if Pisco. Nope, Pisco didn't do dick. Fuck you, Pisco. Lonerbox, Destiny, Pangburn. Putting that in the title. Damn, you guys pissed me the fuck off today. All right. Hi, guys. Welcome.
Hey, guys. Travis Pangburn.
Yes, my name's Connor. I'm a science fiction, political, and philosophy nerd, Marine Corps and law enforcement veteran, and I am going to be breaking down Stephen Bunnell debating MAGA fans while I still read my chat and get angry at my chat for something that they did to me earlier. They backstabbed me, and now I must stab them back. But for the sake of entertaining people who are not here to hear me endlessly argue with my chat, let's put on some content as well.
Etc. Even if you look at the deportation, I believe Biden deported around 3.5 million illegals compared to how many illegals he let into the country, which is around 5 million. So even on that basis, it was still around like 1.5 million that remained, you know, if you count the deportations. So my first question here is, especially because I believe that deterrence is a huge part when it comes to immigration policies. What do you think Joe Biden was doing to deter so many illegals to come to the border compared to the Trump administration now?
I mean, if the argument is ever like,
Ooh, almost an argument.
who's doing the best to deter people from coming to
AF Racing says, you ignored everything I said and then said I didn't say anything. I have 200 other chatters besides you, AF Racing. Restate your argument. You should be able to summarize your argument in a few sentences. Please do so now.
the country? I think Donald Trump is doing a really fantastic job of that in a lot of different ways.
Well, why do you think?
I linked my source 3 times. There's no links, bro. You can't post links in YouTube chat. Even if you see it on your end, I can't see the links. So don't link. Summarize your argument. Tell me what to Google.
Like
No, I know. So like the immigration thing, I think that there are arguments that you can make about immigration. I don't think conservatives care about any of them. I think there was kind of like an unfortunate reality that it played in two different ways. So one, at the end of Trump's first term, he benefited really heavily from Title 42, the ability to heavily restrict the border based on medical emergency, and then ignoring like even the Title 42 powers. A lot less people were just migrating anywhere because a lot of people were just staying home because COVID was kind of wrecking everything. And then after COVID ended, I think that when people started to flock to the border again, this kind of asylum loophole started to get discovered. And then
which asylum? Oh, you're talking about yeah, people claiming asylum in the at the border, right?
Kind of, yeah, but more so than that, that if you claim asylum and they don't have the judges to adjudicate your case, then by law they issue you a slip and they say, well, show up to your case, and then you can just kind of.
And they stayed in the United.
Sorry, real quick. So AF Racing, I'm going to respond to you directly. In 1939, U.S. Supreme Court considered the matter in United States versus Miller. There, the court adopted a collective rights approach, determining that Congress could regulate a sawed-off shotgun, which moved to interstate commerce under the National Firearms Act of 1934, because the evidence did not suggest that the shotgun has some relationship to a sawed-off shotgun, which moved interstate commerce under the National Firearms Act, because the evidence did not suggest that the shotgun has some reasonable relationship to the preservation or efficiency of a well-regulated militia. The court then explained that the framers included the Second Amendment to ensure the effectiveness of the military. But what I would counter argue is that sawed-off shotguns, interestingly enough, short-barreled shotgun breacher. What's funny enough is that these have become popular in the past 30 or 40 years with the military, specifically as breaching tools, because you use the teeth to bite into a door and then blow a door off a hinge. So now that a tiny shotgun, a sawed-off shotgun, if you will, has a military purpose in the militia, are you now for deregulating short-barreled shotguns so citizens can train to be more effective in their military service? That's what I would push back on within that line of argumentation. So, did they deny that individuals have the right to keep and bear some arms? Or, well, actually, did they deny the right of all citizens to keep and bear arms? Or did they say this class of arm doesn't serve a militia or military purpose, therefore we're going to regulate it? That would be my contention. But thank you for looking something up.
United States, right?
Yeah, this is kind of like the catch and release thing, basically.
Yeah.
I think that there might be an argument that Biden waited too long to kind of try to address this substantively, and it became a huge thing in the last year. But I guess the big issue that I have is I just don't believe conservatives when they say this was a real problem for the United States. I think a lot of it was just showmanship. I hear a lot of different numbers tonight. You said 10 million. I've heard some say 20 million. I've heard just all sorts of different numbers thrown around about this. The thing that bothers me is that when there was an actual huge piece of legislation that would go to addressing these issues, Donald Trump explicitly told, and this isn't like a conspiracy, like Ted Cruz and other senators and congressmen.
Nope, I didn't whack anybody. They finally came up with historical events or evidence after 30 minutes of badgering. So no, nobody's getting whacked.
Just outwardly talking about this, Donald Trump told people to just nuke the bill related to the immigration stuff, right? So this is a bill that would have given a congressional cap Now, obviously, Donald Trump has done this via executive order.
Yeah, he's
and
been
Biden
doing
did
that
the last-
already.
But this would have given us like a new law from Congress. It would have given us more judges to actually adjudicate all of the asylum claims and to catch up on everything. Like, I think it would have.
No, like Destiny, I totally understand all that, but at the same time, when you're saying, well, I just don't believe that there's 10 million encounters at the border, this was on paper. If you look at the stats here, it was.
Eben, I might have missed your comment. Feel free to restate it.
There's 10 million encounters.
Well, it's not that I don't believe that there weren't 10 million. I just don't believe it was that big of a problem.
Yeah, but you don't think 10 million encounters at the border was a big issue, Destiny, during that time? Like, you don't find that to be a problem at all?
I think that if there is a very substantial problem.
AF Racing, you can be mad at me for being mad at you, and I perfectly accept that. However, links don't work in YouTube chat. So if you posted United States versus Miller 3 times, I did not see it a single time.
Problem, then I think that you would have jumped at, not you personally, but I think people would have jumped at the bit to actually fix it. And the fact that people were content to completely nuke any legislation.
Yeah, but that bill came in 2024. Why didn't they propose it and like right when Biden took office, when he had the House and the Senate, if they were so concerned about the border?
If I said that I was like dying of dehydration at 2 p.m. and somebody didn't show up with water until 6 p.m. and then I said I was going to wait until the next day for the Kool-Aid.
Yeah,
I feel
but
like
whose fault was it that didn't give you the water in the first place, right?
It's not about whose fault is it?
Well, it kind of is, though.
Well, the question is, the question was, how strong is the claim? Is it a really big problem?
It is a really big problem.
If we can push it off for like 6 more months, seems like it's not that big of a problem, no?
Well, if you could push it off for another 6 months, the thing is that once they did that border bill, I would say, was there anything in that bill that was going to deter illegal immigrants at the border?
Yes.
What was it?
So one, it would have given what was eventually done through executive order, depending on the legality of that. I guess I don't know where the challenges are to that. It would have given an official cap for shutting down the border if too many people had come in.
What's too many people?
I think it was if the average was like 5,000.
Oh my God, you guys are so gross. I threatened to spank my chat children and you guys are into it kinkily. The internet has ruined your brains. All right, anyways, addressing the thing. What's weird enough is if you're anti-immigrant or you're pro-secured border, you actually just have to admit something about the Trump admin. They have been so cruel to immigrants. They have been so pro-deportation. They have propagandized their mass deportation efforts so aggressively that they've reduced border crossings by like 96%. And then also, I think there's something, I would have to research it further, but I think people said that with Obama and with Biden, they counted turnaways at the border, like people who were immediately rejected from crossing. They counted those as deportations as a part of their stats. And so if we move past Trump actually did reduce border crossings by a substantive amount, and he's enforcing immigration law quite aggressively. Now we get into the argument of, well, how do we actually supply our economy with the labor it needs in reference to agriculture and construction? Do we just accept the fact that we need to pay construction people and agricultural people 10 to 30 bucks an hour? Or are Central American immigrants who are willing to work for minimum wage in the fields, is that a part of our economy? And then what I would say, my ideal would be mass worker visas. We've done this before where effectively we have seasonal workers who you do a background check, you get approved for a seasonal work visa, you show up for the season in which you work, and then you go home, right? And then, and I'm sure there's like work visas where you wouldn't have to go home. You could probably just stay and move into a different kind of work, but you would still be vetted at the border. So this argumentation over like who's better about immigration, I don't know, man. It's not going to be a W for liberals, in my opinion. It's going to be, liberals shouldn't be arguing that we should return to the status quo of mass illegal immigration. They should be arguing how to make that system legal and make it work for the American people and make it work for the American economy in a way that's conducive to all parties. That would be my recommendation.
Over a 1 week period, if it exceeded that, then the government had the ability to legally just shut down all asylum claims.
So then they definitely would have shut it down, especially on average 200,000 illegal immigrants coming to the border, right?
Yeah.
So, okay. Trump was able to get that done without any type of bill.
Trump was able to get a lot of stuff done, but he didn't.
Hold on, but why didn't Joe Biden get it done without a bill then?
Because it's better to do stuff legislatively than it is through executive order.
So then you're telling me that
True.
Okay, do you understand that? Like, it's
But
hard
no,
to
no,
believe
no.
that
But
it's a real
I
problem
totally
if they
understand
shut
that it's
down the
better.
legislation.
Of course, it's better to do it through a
Well, yeah,
bill.
but if they
but
shut down
however,
the legislation,
however,
how can I believe there's a real problem?
Yeah, but however, a real problem. 10 million illegal immigrants
that's
encounters at the border.
Sapien Green asks, why would you assume that the founding fathers were talking about individuals instead of the people collective? The first had no precedent that I know of. I'm no history buff. Because of the Minutemen. Google. Minutemen Revolutionary War. Minutemen were volunteer, highly mobile soldiers of the American colonial militia during the Revolutionary War, known for their readiness to fight at a minute's notice. They played a crucial role in the early battles of the war, particularly Lexington and Concord, and helped to quickly mobilize colonial forces against the British. They served as a rapid response force. They were key roles in the early battles. They had a communication network. They were distinct from the general militia. While all Minutemen were part of the militia, not all militia members were Minutemen. Minutemen were typically younger and more physically fit, and they received additional training. So the whole point of this is that when you're looking at the Revolutionary War, the training was you and the bros go to go out into the woods and you shoot your guns and you train with each other. That was the Minutemen actually share the Oath Keepers. You guys view them, some of you guys view them as LARPing, cringe, constitutionalist, zealot freaks. I view them as the fucking Minutemen. That's genuinely how I view them. You can say that they're R-slurred. You can say that they're cringe. You can say that they're LARPers. You can say all of that stuff. And I'll probably agree with a substantive amount of that. But the original militias of the Revolutionary War were going out into the woods with your bros in order to practice with weapons. That's what a militia has always been. And so if you don't have an individual right to keep and bear arms, then how could you possibly be a part of the militia? And if the federal government itself recognizes a difference between the unorganized and organized militia, why would they make that recognition unless it was a part of the formal organized militia? Furthermore, why wouldn't it just confer explicitly the right for the states to keep an organized militia as a counterbalance to the federal government instead of saying that it's the right of the people